Right, a very good afternoon, everyone. Okay, once again, thank you for joining us today. Again, today is a very special episode that we are doing and on an annual basis, which is actually our Seller Ambassadors Day itself. So the purpose of this day is really to show, of course, to spread the knowledge of our Seller Ambassadors who are very experienced in actually managing their campaigns, or even some of the mindsets that actually they adopt during the mega campaign period itself. Just a reminder, of course, at the end of the day, all of this, the Seller Ambassador program is really a program that is made with sellers for sellers. We are not, this program itself is really to benefit the sellers itself. And at the end of the day, today itself, we really created this program really to benefit sellers at the end of the day itself. Today we have 6 presenters. We have Brian, Anson, Chisan, Daniel, Barry, and Philip from various stores itself. You can actually go and check out their stores on Lazada itself. Unfortunately, Anson can't be here today because he has actually contracted COVID. So unfortunately, we have one less presenter today. But not to worry, we actually arranged another day for you to actually talk to him and actually have learned from him from other sessions itself. All right. So don't worry so much. So again, I just want to quickly, of course, promote our ambassadors itself. So these are some of the presenters. Can you help me move to the next slide, please? Thanks. All right. So in Lazada ecosystem, I know sometimes you may see these ambassadors themselves. We have like the Dingy Shop, we have Jintai, we have Home Bay, we have the Liquor Shop, Joseph and Casey, 3P Travelers, RC Global, Prestigio Delights, Lava E-Commerce, Chisan, 8 Miles, ICM, Photography, Modern Link, Unique Home, Gosin Huat, Fashion Home, and of course Anson himself. So all these people are actually doing actually a service for all sellers. And again, all this that we do, there is again no monetary benefits towards themselves. They are doing it because they really want to help sellers to develop and grow as a seller itself. And also they serve as a very valuable channel to us as Lazada, as a feedback channel, as well as a learning channel itself. But also at the end of the day, all this whole day is very dedicated to them. But of course, due to the time constraints, we also don't want to have a live stream that runs all the way to 3 to 5 hours itself. We want something that's more conducive, something that's more concise, and something you can actually have clear takeaways for our mega campaign, which is our Double 11 campaign itself, which is we're going to be happening very, very soon itself. So, and of course, not to mention, these are of course the ambassadors that we have for the previous year. And this year itself, we actually invited three of them to actually join us, which is Jacob, Daniel, and Brian, to join us on this Seller Ambassador journey. Again, so how are they selected? For those folks who are not in the Facebook community, they are actually voted by the individual community members themselves. Okay, it's through a very fair polling process. Okay, we are not involved in this process. We will ask you to nominate your favorite person to help you or to represent you in this committee, where Lazada can of course learn from sellers, whereas the sellers can also learn from Lazada themselves. All right, it's going to be definitely a win-win journey for all of us. But of course, without further ado, I will just quickly move on to our first presenter that we have for today, which is actually Brian. All right, so Brian will just talk about how to build a brand store. All right, I'll invite him shortly over. All right, so let's move on to invite Brian.
Okay, hello everyone. Yeah. Okay, those. With the slides. Hello everyone. Yeah, testing. 1, 2, 3. Wait, can you all hear me? All right. Yeah. Okay. Waiting for the slides. Okay. Okay. This is Brian from Regencify. Let me just share my Regencify story. Okay. Back in 2018 to 2019, I was like trying out various different hair care products, and then I was researching on various different hair care ingredients that are beneficial for hair. Back then, I couldn't find a single product brand that has all the ingredient lists that I wanted. So that led me to the idea to start my own hair care brand so that I can have my own dream list ingredient inside. So that was how Regencify was born. Later on, I'll be presenting a topic on building a brand store. The mindset and strategies of a brand store seller can be quite different from that of a reseller store. However, if you can execute the business well, a brand store business model can be a financially rewarding and sustainable business model that you may want to consider approach. Okay, now for Regensify, the company was incorporated in April 2020. It took me 1 year of R&D and product development before I launched Regensify in mid-June 2021. Currently, Regensify only has 3 main products: a shampoo, a conditioner, and a hair serum. And as you can tell, I'm actually a very patriotic Singaporean. You can see that my serum box, right, has a Singapore flag there. For the shampoo and the conditioner are in red and white, just like the Singapore flag as well. As Regensify is formulated and manufactured in Singapore, I wanted my brand to have a strong Singapore identity, and that's why the labels are designed this way. Currently, besides our domestic market, Singapore, Regensify is now available in 3 overseas markets, namely USA, Australia, and Malaysia. Thanks to the Lazada Global Selling Program, we now sell direct to the Malaysia market via Lazada Malaysia. So currently, Lazada Malaysia is the exclusive platform whereby our Malaysia buyers can purchase Regensify products from. Okay, before I share more, let me just share a little bit about myself. Okay, besides Regensify, I also run a backpacker hostel business, okay, called Gap Year Hostel. Gap Year Hostel is now a one-stop collection point. In December 2020, we signed out as a Ninja collection point. So besides being a seller, I'm also a collection point owner, whereby we manage numerous numbers of buyer and seller parcels that come in and out daily. So if you are nearby Lavender area, Boon Keng area, or Farrer Park, you are welcome to use our collection point. Okay, what are the pros, cons, and selling challenges of building a product brand store? There are 3 pros, 2 cons, and 3 selling challenges. The first pro is that as it is your own product, you can command better margins and you need not engage in any price war with other sellers. Now, the first con is that to make your own product, okay, you do need a certain amount of business capital to start, okay, due to R&D, product development costs, and then usually during the manufacturing, there's high MOQ, okay. So if you are thinking of starting a business with 0 or no capital, I'm sorry to say that a brand store business model is unlikely going to be suitable for you, okay. Now, the second con is that R&D and product development takes time. The number of products in the product brand store tend to take a longer time to grow compared to a reseller store. For example, my Regensify hair care product only has 6 SKU. Okay, so my 6 SKU product store can probably beat a reseller store that's like 20 to 30 over products, but it will never be able to beat a reseller store that's like 1,000 over products. So the thing is this: if you cannot increase the number of products, how are you going to increase your revenue? Okay. The way for a brand store business owner to increase your revenue would be to think globally by selling the same product to as many countries as possible overseas. And that links to my 3 selling challenges. The first selling challenges is that we have a small domestic market. Okay, although Singapore has a high GDP per capita, a 5 million population is still a very, very small market. However, Singapore brand store sellers should consider using Singapore as your home base, leverage on the Singapore branding, prove that your product can sell well in Singapore, and then you use your Singapore success story to start attract your overseas distributors to join in your business alliance. Okay, that's the first selling challenges. The second selling challenges is challenges in international shipping. How are you going to ship your product economically to your overseas buyer? Does your products contain liquids or batteries? What are the custom duties and taxes imposed by the overseas countries? Okay, depending on what you sell, you do need to know how to sort all these international shipping issues. Okay, the third selling challenges will be challenges in overseas selling. Okay, there are generally 2 ways. It's either you sell direct or you appoint a suitable overseas distributor. If you sell direct, you can get better margins, but you also need to take care of the customer service and also the budget in some marketing expenses. For example, we sell direct to Malaysia, so we have to take care of all the customer service and the marketing, run some advertising in Malaysia as well. But if you appoint overseas distributor, you probably earn lesser margin because your distributor also need to earn, but you know, they take care of all the customer service and logistics for you. Okay, there is no right or wrong which is better. If you understand this overseas market well, you sell direct. If you don't understand this market well, it may be better to appoint a overseas distributor. Okay, so now back to the last 2 points. Okay, the last 2 pros. Okay, the important concept here is this. Number 1, when you do not have a brand, you have to find customers. When you have a brand, it will be customers coming to find you. Okay, I'll elaborate more later on in this coming slide. Okay, the last point. Okay, Regensify hasn't reached this stage yet, but the thing is that when you are a brand, it is easier for you to raise funds for expansion for the capital market, either through bank loans or equity investing. If you are a reseller store selling other people's product, it may be hard for you to raise funds. But if you are a brand store, you got unique product, your product got USP, you can attract investors, okay, to invest in your company to expand. Okay, now assuming you want to start your own brand store, okay, what products should you make? Here are some questions to think about during your product development. Of course, this is not a product development course, but you should think through all these questions. Number 1, what are the demographics of my target consumer? Okay. Number 2, what pain point problems do my product solve? Okay, the larger the pain point problem, the greater the chance your product will succeed. Number 3, what are the unique selling points of my product, the USP? For example, for Regensify context, we want to focus on the high performance category of hair care, which is anti-hair loss, so that the pain point problem is big enough. Okay, so the unique selling points of Regensify is actually our ingredient formulation. Okay, our ingredient is our USP. Now, number 4, are the products easily copied or imitated by competitors? You have to think about this. Number 5, is this product a one-time purchase or can it create repeat buying from the same buyer? Okay. Number 6, how long is the product life cycle? For example, a mobile phone has a product life cycle of around 1 to 2 years. This year is iPhone 14, next year is iPhone 15. Fashion clothes maybe have a shorter product life cycle. This season, this clothes design is popular. 3 to 6 months down the road, the clothes design is no longer popular. For cosmetic, the product life cycle is longer, maybe in terms of years. Now, the thing is this, it's important to understand the product life cycle so that you can estimate the economics of this product development project. For example, if the product has a 3-year product life cycle, you have to ask yourself, in these 3 years, how many units can I sell? And what is the returns expected to get? Okay? In general, if a product is still selling well, you keep it. If the product is near the end of its product life cycle, and the sales are declining, then you know that it's time to introduce new model, new formulation, improve whatever product, so that you can attract your buyers back. Okay. Number 7, what are the certifications required for the product? Okay, for example, if it's cosmetic, you need to register at HSA, Health Science Authority. If it's electronics, you need to get all your safety mark. Whatever it is, you need to clear all the certifications before you can sell the product. Okay. Number 8, how are you going to build your supply chain? Who is your manufacturer? Who is your supplier? In dealing with manufacturers and suppliers, it is always good to have all the proper NDA and contract signed. For Regensify, we work with a Singapore cosmetic manufacturer company who will manufacture for us and do all the QC for us. Number 9, do you have a detailed branding strategy? What is your brand story? What is the slogans and your taglines? How are you going to build your raving fans to spread your products by word of mouth? For example, Nike's slogan is just do it. For Regensify, our slogan is redensify your hair with Regensify. Okay? Now, after you know what product to make, it's time to think of the brand name. Okay? When I started this hair care project, right, I wanted to have my brand name related to the word regenerate. Okay? And then the words Shopify, Spotify came to my mind. So I searched Regensify. Nobody is using it. So I designed a logo, I trademarked it. This is my trademark certificate from Singapore IPOS. Okay? Now, how are your products going to be seen as a brand? The only way for your product to be seen as a brand legally is to have a trademark. Okay? Very important. After you have all your trademark and everything, you may want to register your brand name at the marketplace. For example, the image on the right side shows the Lazada template to register your brand. You key in the brand name, the category, upload the trademark number, brand logo, and the product images, and then you submit it for Lazada to approve. If you look at this template, right, the trademark number is optional, but I would recommend you to have a trademark, because if you don't have a trademark, they may reject your application. Sometimes, some marketplaces are very strict. If you don't have a trademark, they will not approve you as a brand. The thing is this, why do you want to register your brand in the marketplace? You want to register your brand in the marketplace so that next time your buyers can find your product easily by searching your brand name. Okay, that's the advantage. Okay, that's why when you have a brand, it will be customers coming to find you. The cost of filing each trademark per glass in Singapore IPOS is SGD $240 and is valid for 10 years. It's not really that expensive. So 1 year is about $24. Okay. If you get outside people to file for you, I believe the market rate is around 350 lah. Okay, so you should learn how to file yourself lah, unless you want to pay extra. Okay. Now, after you know what product to make, your brand name and everything, you may want to consider to have your own customized packaging. Okay. You don't really need to have a fanciful or colorful carton box. All you need is to have a simple carton box with your logo there. Okay, so that whenever you ship your orders to your buyers see your logo, they can remember your brand name. This is very, very important. Okay. Then assuming you're also going to sell overseas, okay, volumetric weight is also going to be very important. If you look at the Regencify carton box, right? Okay, my carton box size is just nice, such that it can fit in the 3 items just nicely. There is no excess space. Why? Because I do not want the courier to overcharge me. Okay? For me to manufacture this carton box, right, the MOQ is 3,000. Okay? Yeah. Now, if you go to the Lazada sponsored search solutions, if you do a keyword search, okay, the monthly search volume for Regencify is about 195. Okay? If you divide by 30, it works out to be about 6.5 searches per day. So that the search volume of your brand name is a good indication of your organic traffic. The higher the number, the better. That's why when you have a brand, it will be customer coming to find you. Of course, this number can fluctuate up and down, but this is just an example. If you look at my competitor, Grafen, a Korean shampoo brand, okay, their search volume is like 700 plus to 800 plus lah. So that means I still got a long way to go, you know, for Regencify to catch up with Grafen. Okay. Now, here are 2 examples of Facebook video advertising that I run, you know, to drive traffic to my Lazada Malaysia store. The left one is the video ads in English. The right one is the video ads in Chinese. Okay. Yeah, besides the Lazada sponsored search solutions, you may also want to consider combining Facebook advertising to drive traffic, and it can help to improve your sales ultimately when you combine the 2 solutions together. Okay, the thing is that there are 2 reasons why I like a video ads. The first reason is because video ads can create impulsive buying. Okay, a video can create impulsive buying. Number 2, a video ads can build brand awareness. Okay. Now, to summarize, there are 3 key concepts here in this presentation. When you do not have a brand, you have to find customers. When you have a brand, it will be customers coming to find you. Number 2, it is important for brand store owner to think globally, how to sell your products everywhere to as many countries, but at the same time, you also need to know how to add local. Okay, localize your marketing, localize your pricing on all the different markets. Okay, yeah. Number 3, if a product is still selling well within its product life cycle, you keep it. Okay, if not, then you know it's time for a new version. Okay, I only have 3 tips for all the sellers. Okay, the first tip is this. Okay, a video can create impulsive buying. So it's important to add a video to your product listing. It can help to improve your conversion. Number 2, find a reliable and big parcel collection point to work with. If can, locate your warehouse within walking distance to the collection point. You will save a lot of time. Okay? Yeah. Number 3, remember to save Ninja contact number and email to your phone. Okay? I don't think I need to explain why. Okay? If you have any logistic issue, please just call them, email them, raise a ticket number. Ninja will attend to it. Okay? Now, with that, it's almost the end of my presentation. Okay, of course, I won't be able to spoon feed you what product to make, but ideally, you know, if you want to start a brand store, you should be considering products that you are passionate about. Okay, with that, I'll end my presentation. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hello, Velon. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you, Brian, for sharing all the information itself. Again, of course, thank you for sharing. I think opening a brand store definitely is not a very simple thing.
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of work behind it, including the R&D and the. You just have to make sure that it succeeds. Okay.
How much investment do you put in your first R&D? Don't need to give me exact figure. Let's say the number on the digits. How many digits you put in your first R&D product, which is the hair growth itself?
I would say it's somewhere between 50 to 100K lah. Yeah.
So of course, I think for sellers who will think about, of course, building a brand, there's definitely benefits in building a long-term brand store.
Yeah.
Like you say, like when customers find you, instead of you going and trying to find customer, and of course, you're building a long-term business itself. And of course, are there other products that you are trying to like diversify in after like your hair growth product? What do you think? What do you think you'll be going into?
I do have some new products in the process of making. Okay, but we are still in the R&D stage lah. Hopefully, we can launch it sometime next year. It will also be related to cosmetic. Okay, so watch out for it sometime next year lah. But when it's ready for launch, we will launch it lah. Yeah.
Okay, then I think one more question the commonly people ask: if you will launch a new product,
okay,
would you open a new Lazada store or you launch the same product within your same Lazada store?
If I think the product is carrying the same brand, you should launch it within your own brand store. So it's also easier to manage a one-stop brand store, you know. Yeah. So my new products will also carry the same brand, unless you are, you know, totally opening a totally different brand with a totally different category. Then you have to assess whether it's feasible to open another new store or stick to the current store. It's up to you. Yeah. But importantly is how you if you stick to the same store, there's an advantage because you still got all your existing followers and all your things. You don't have to start a store totally from scratch. So the selling will be better. Yeah, you know, as in the initial stage, because you can leverage on all your existing followers and everything to boost your sales. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So I think what we have next actually we actually ask every presenter today to actually present to you ask the audience 3 questions itself. Okay, so 3 questions itself. And of course, each question we will give how many winner? 1 minute. We'll give 1 winner because there is 5. It's supposed to be 6 presenters. There will be 3 questions. There are 18 vouchers to give. So actually, we'll give one $10 voucher per winner per question per winner. Okay, because we also don't. And then of course, each presenter will have 3 questions. And at the end of the whole session, we should give out 15 winners as a whole itself. Again, the winners will be decided by Kai Wen as well as Karina at their operating behind the scenes itself, and then of course they will show the winner. I think we are good to go to the first question.
Okay, so are you all ready? The first question.
Let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
Which of the following is true about building a brand store? A. As it is your own product, you can command better margins and need not engage in any price wars. B. When you do not have a brand, you have to find customers. When you have a brand, is the customers coming by you?
Yeah.
When you have a brand, it's easier for you to raise funds for expansion through capital market. All right. All of the above. So, which is the correct answer? Let's I think give a few seconds.
Q&A is very easy.
I think it's quite simple, so I think actually we summarize this into the whole page itself. Do we have a winner? Do you say yes or no?
Okay.
All right. So again, so if you're on stream itself, please do invite your other friends and colleagues to actually view this live stream itself. Reason is because, again, this is a day that is created for you itself and then for us to actually engage with you through this question itself. Okay, and that is definitely for you to learn more about preparing for campaign itself. Kaiwan, do you have anything? Okay, so we have a winner. I think they'll keep track of winner. We just announce the winner at the end of. I will just announce the winner at the end of the next session itself. So it's easier. It's easier for us to accommodate which winner itself. Because I forgot to take my phone with me. Okay. So next question. Let's our answer is all of the above. I think Brian actually mentioned just now.
Yeah.
Definitely, really to of course you need to you once you have a brand, you have certain advantages, which is all this that's listed above, like price war, like all these command better prices, looking for funds through capital market. That's very better. Okay. Question number 2. I think. Okay. How can your product be seen as a brand legally?
Yeah, the keyword is legally.
So there's only 2 quick choices, actually very easy only. It's either A, you design a logo, or B, you design a unique logo and file a trademark.
Okay.
Okay, so what is difference between design a unique logo and design a logo? That you listed over here.
The logo must be something that no one is tried not to be using it. And then your trademark is actually your IP.
Okay. So is there like certain principles that we do when you actually talk about like designing a logo?
When you're filing a trademark, right? There is category, like you have to choose which category your trademark belongs to. You know, so So that category, let's say if it's this trademark is the F&B store, so any of these F&B shouldn't have any trademark, that is similar to yours lah. Then IPOS will approve it. So it will take around 6 to 9 months for IPOS to search all their database before they approve your trademark.
I think anyway he already reviewed the answer, which answer actually is B, which is actually to design a unique logo and file a trademark. Again, it's very important to have a trademark. Because without a trademark, we can't identify you as a trademark brand itself. I think last month that goes. Of course, we last month does not only recognize IPOS, but there are other things that we do recognize, like international trademarks. That's fought against the Ds itself. But again, it's very important to have a trademark because it is built a long-term recall, brand recall.
Correct. Okay.
Sorry. Okay, and last question we have today, I think, is what are the advantages of having a video in your product listing? One is a video can create impulsive purchase. B, a video can build brand awareness. Or C, all of the above itself.
My answer is very straightforward.
Okay, so I think when you talk about video itself in your product listing, what kind would you, I know because right now is a trend of TikTok itself. Would you really recommend direct marketing, that means with native marketing, which is like you promote your product directly, or you have a video that has someone that's subtly promoting your product in the back end? Because now the TikTok nowadays.
The thing is that ultimately, to make a video, you must have budget for it. Okay? So it depends on how expensive you want your video to be. But generally, your video should capture all the USP, the advantages and the benefits of the product, and the video shouldn't be too long, maybe less than 1 minute would be good enough, for it to be uploaded. Generally, I do find video very useful, especially if you run any advertising, the video ads together with all your, your copywriting script, you can really attract buyers to impulsively purchase. Because sometimes in the product listing, you see all the listing front images, but you don't know what the product is about until you click all the listing in details to check. So sometimes the video can really capture the attention. So I would say that video is is a future. I would say, for marketing. So,
So what would be your recommended time for a video? Like what's the best timing for a video that you would recommend?
I think you mean time duration, right? I think not more than 1 minute. Depends on as long as it gives you the idea, what is the benefits of the product, why you should have it, and everything. If you got the budget, you want to get a influencer to do the video for you, it'll be better. Ultimately, it's all your budget.
Okay. So what's the answer for this? Let's back to the question. Answer is all of the above. Okay. Again, so what?
Important is also can build brand awareness, because every time the people see the video, they remember the brand name. So next time they know that they can search your brand.
And very importantly, if you create any creatives themselves, please remember set aside some budget to boost your creatives on social media itself.
You can also advertise in whatever your IG, your Facebook page or whatever.
Because if you post on the page itself, it is actually not very direct, as it's not very it will not be attract as much if you don't boost it at all. Okay? So so what I think what now is actually there's some that I don't know why my screen blacked out in front of me, but okay.
Still here?
So I think that it's still live, right? It's live, right? All right. So I think next thing is do we have any questions on that? Okay, you throw me my phone.
Oh, still have questions. Okay.
Okay, my phone. I'll take my phone. So let's go through quickly what I have questions I have. Let's quickly answer first. Okay, question for Brian. What's the question for Brian? Okay, there's one question here. I want to read it. It's the same question. How to register a trademark in Singapore? IPOS. You search IPOS in Google. You give a the first.
Of course, your company must have a corp pass then you can log in.
Corp pass. First thing, corp pass.
Okay.
Corp pass is you must have Accra. Okay. Okay. I think commonly that's this question. I think we have a lot of.
Okay.
So I think so thank you Brian for this. Okay, I think before we skip to the next presenter, which is Philip. Philip is actually a very experienced e-commerce marketer. Okay, yes, e-commerce marketer, and then he will be, of course, definitely very glad to actually share with you some of the information. I think we'll transition shortly to Philip, and 1 minute, 1 minute, okay, to Philip, and then definitely we will showcase his capabilities there. So let's move on to the holding slide, please.
Something 讲太快 but I need to check the time.
Yeah, hello everyone. Nice to meet you again. Nice to meet you again. And it's been 1 year. I haven't seen you all guys. Now everything are open, so I'm very happy to share my experience regarding how to prepare the stock for Double 11. Okay. First of all, I make a short introduction of myself. My name is Philip Yu. I have a nickname called Fishman. If everybody know me, Fishman, that is my nickname. I have a very long history of working experiences in different MNC and SME, mainly on traditional international import-export business. So e-commerce is very accidentally I dropped inside because in 2016 I have semi-retired. So my wife said, "Hey, you are semi-retired. How come you don't do something else? Don't just stay at home." So since I have since 2008 buy and selling experience in Taobao when I was working in China, so I said maybe based on my last working experiences, traditionally import-export, so I maybe do some e-commerce because those times e-commerce are very get in demand. So at 1916. I joined Taobao CEO courses about e-commerce. So I get some knowledge, really knowledge about how to run e-commerce shops. Then at 2016, I opened a shop on Lazada and other platforms. Start from them until now. I have about 7 years of e-commerce experiences. So today, I'd like to share some interesting point about stocks. And at 2018, I became a Lazada sales ambassador. Since then, I get more and more involved about the Lazada tours and seller center. So I feel a lot of things to learn from seller center. And 2019, after training, I became a certified trainer for Lazada. Okay, regarding my shops, my store called RC Global. I believe some of you already purchasing or maybe heard from my shops. We are started from the category of home and living items. I started at very small sizes, just myself, one person, and 200 square feet of office, and the first month is only $500. It's very tiny compared to today. But after 6-7 years up and down and develop, and today I have a team of the marketing and team of the logistic, everybody. I have about altogether 6 members in my team. My working size is starting from these 200 square feet. Now I have working size office 1,500 square feet, and warehouse I have 3,500 square feet warehouse. So because my home and the living items are so bulky, so I need space to store it. And this is my first category. Then from the home and living category, slowly I developed the baby and kids category to start some mother's items, baby and kids items. And also then I developed another subcategory called gadget, then small items. That's about my company. Okay, today I'd like to sharing with you some of the key point, which is what's the stock planning, why the stock planning is so important, how to identify important stocks to stock, and what quantity to stock for those products, and how long should we start to sourcing and planning for the Double 11, and what to do if the sourcing issues. That today I'd like to share with you. Before I go into these things, I'd like to share two stories about myself. Okay, this two story is from the 2017 and the 2018. Okay, the first story is about Double 11 at 2016, which is Friday, which is a very good starting for me because I started at September 2016, my shop. And then very soon, 2 months, I have Double 11. You know, before that, I have very good item to sell, which is the frying pan. You looked at the picture. The normal market price, $32.90, and the normal selling price on Lazada is $19.90. But on Double 11, I plan to sell $12.90, which is crazy price, very good. At those times, a $12.90 price is very in demand. And based on the 2 months time from September I started until Double 11, I sold about 20 sets. I think it's very good because when we started. So I planned that maybe I have 2.5 times sales on Double 11. So I prepared 50 sets, everything already there. So when the Double 11 the day, 12 midnight, the orders start coming in, then I went to sleep. And another call, I went to the office. I left office. I saw my seller center, 50 sets all gone. But by the end of the Double 11, 12 midnight, I saw totally 147. But I don't have that many stocks. I have only 50. So at the end of the day, I have no choice. I canceled them. I got penalties, but no choice because I have to cancel the order. I don't have them in stock. So this is the fair of the stock planning. After that, I review what is the issue, what's the reason why I couldn't make it successful and take advantage from the Double 11. So I review, there's a few reasons. First of all, I was quite new in e-commerce. Only 2 months I set up the store. Then I faced the Double 11. At those times, and Lazada did not have such many training for new sellers. So I don't know, I have no experiences. I have about 12 or 15 SKU only. And each SKU I have very limited stocks. So I'm quite new. And second reason is I'm not familiar with Lazada Center tools. There's also very limited function on those times. And number three, I said I have only 200 square foot office spaces. This is all I have. I don't have too much warehouse space to stock so many items. And plus again, when we started, there's a very tight cash flow. So I couldn't spend just all my cash flow on one item. I spend about 50 items for each SKU. The number 4 reason is I totally do not understand the importance of stock planning. Now today I know, that's why I want to share you. But those times, I just buy and sell, just like all the new seller. And I don't understand what is the important, why the stock planning is so important. And now I want to share with you the second story, which is true and happened. Maybe some of the seller, they are stay in e-commerce longer enough. They should know that, which is on 2018 Double 11, which is on Sunday, also very good day to sell. Based on the previously 2 years experience, I think I should keep more stocks because based on the last 2 years sales items, I should prepare about 100 numbers of that particular SKU. So, and also consider about the warehouse sizes. I don't want to build up all of a sudden so many numbers that my warehouse bursts. I don't have a warehouse to put. So I also consider, because if I build up 100 quantities, also I need a big warehouse. I need also a big cash flow, which I also don't have that much. So I expect about 3 weeks time from the Double 11. Before that, then I have stock coming in. So I place the order beginning of October, and then shipments about 15th of October. So to the Singapore, it's around 5th of November. Should be good enough time for the Double 11. But unfortunately and unexpectedly, at that week, there's a big typhoon blowing through all the southeast coast of China, including Guangzhou. My warehouse and my forwarder warehouse is in Guangzhou. So you see the photos, you know that everybody has experienced, remember that they're all flooding all the Guangzhou area, including the city area. And all the warehouses are outside Guangzhou also be flooded. All my stocks in the warehouse ready to ship, they're all flooded in the water. Totally cannot ship. Totally cannot ship. So I flew there and no choice. And then immediately I reorder. But if I reorder from the manufacturer come to Guangzhou, it will take about 2 weeks time during the logistic and as well as the production. So it is no time and no possible to meet the Double 11 requirement. So I have almost no stock to sell at Double 11, which is also a very sad story. Then again, after that, our team will sit down and review what is the issue, what's the problem, what's the reason. Firstly, we did not expect there's a weather situation, because the weather situation at that period of time is a typhoon season during the south coast of China. And we purchasing all the purchasing we placed the order are too conservative, because we think 3 weeks should be enough. Because based on the last year experience, we think 3 weeks should be okay if everything's smooth. But if the typhoon coming in, if the weather coming in, the last minute we are all gone. And then again, we totally cannot completely understand the whole loop of the stock planning. Because stock planning is not just buying and selling, it is a loop. So I would like to share with you what is the stock planning regarding about. Actually, stock planning is called stock management. It's concerned about totally stock, control of your stock. Starting from the sourcing, including logistics during the shipment, storage in your warehouse, and campaign sales, and as well as the delivery and reorder. This is the whole cycle we call stock planning loop. Stock planning loop is like this. It's an ongoing loop. It's from the sourcing, restock, international or local logistic, coming to your warehouse to storage, and you have also consider first in, first out, and you have to consider you are not only selling on Lazada, you are as well as you're selling on other platforms. You have to control your stock, you have to manage your stock number, you don't oversell your stocks. Then as well as if you have to consider also the local delivery from your house through the 3PL to the customers. And then after that, again, the loop, you have to reorder. So that's whole loop called stock planning you need to consider. You need to understand the overall each of the steps, the importance and the key, so that you will have the enough space and time for you to prepare your stocks. And again, we ask ourselves, why the stock planning is so important? Yes, it is important. Besides understand the loop of the whole stock planning, the stock planning is important to your current orders. If you don't know how many stocks you have, if you don't know where your stock's located, how are you going to anticipate your current stock? When your order coming in, you have to see which order is first. Now, if you have enough stock planning, and then you know your order coming in, you are fulfill your order, no problem. And secondly, your stocks is not just now. You have old stock, you have a new stock, you have a dead stock. If you have a stock planning, you have really efficiently, you can push your current stock first in, first out, and smoothly without an issue. And thirdly, which is you can accurately restock before or after the event, because you never know what exact quantity you are going to sell. You can anticipate, you can forecast, before the event. But after the event, your stock may totally sold out, or your stock still have a lot. Then you have a stock planning important that you know how many stocks, what's the number of stocks you need to restock. Okay, have the good stock planning in place. It means you can supply your right item and right quantity to the customer when order coming in. And secondly, it means you are carrying right amount of stocks. The right amount of stocks, it means also you can minimize your cost. You don't occupy too much of your warehouse space. Yeah, you can also minimize your quantity of your stocks, as well as you can maximize your sales. And number three is, in other words, you can boost your profit, because the minimum cost means you are maximum your profit. How to get your stock right? It needs some requirement. The requirement is you have to be very careful management of your end-to-end process. End-to-end means from your supply chain to your customer, end-to-end. And these are all involved in the root of stock planning. And also require understand and able to assess your right number of your stocks. You can see which one is the fast moving and slow moving and dead stock. So you can plan this one. You can prepare more number of the stocks for your fast moving, and you can prepare less number for your slow moving. And you can give a crazy sales or flash sales for your dead stock, or you can, how to clear your dead stocks. And another one very important, that means you need to adopt a proper order stock management software, the APP, so that the APP will help you automatically to see on which platform and automatically deduct the number from your stock number once the order coming in. Okay, how to identify important SKU to stock up? Some seller has asked me, how to identify? There's a few points that you can see. First of all, manual check, which is what we are doing at the first place. If you have less SKU, you can do the manual check. The manual check, that means you can go physically to see which item, which SKU, you have less stock, then you can replenish the extra more. And you can identify SKU from your physical check. But if you have a more SKU, what to do? Okay, then you need a stock APP. Then from the APP, you can see each of the stock. You have the minimum number that you can keep. Then you can, whatever is not enough, you can from the software, you can see. And as well as you can check from the seller center, because nowadays, Lazada has very good seller center function and tools. You can check from the seller center from the last 6 months, the particular item number, particular SKU, particular customer, and the product name. You can search from there how many items you have been sold. So okay, let's see here. This is the SKU. This is the seller center. On Lazada seller center, you can see there's a performance and there's a traffic and there's a product. From there, you can check all your SKU, your product name, your customer, and you can choose the period of time. From what period to what period, then you are selling. From there, you can see the last 2 months, last 3 months, then you can plan how many stocks you need to reorder. You need to stock in the SKU, the important one. Okay, then we'll ask yourself, what quantity stock for those product important SKU you identify? For me, I will see, of course, I will check from the seller center, and I also plan myself then how much I want to target. I want to target this time, the campaign, 3 times more sales, or 5 times, or 10 times. Well, 10 times is very maximized, is very ambitious. Normally, I plan 3 times to 5 times. So, and also I have to see how much budget which I have to buy the stocks, buy the SKUs numbers. Then I have to also plan myself target and also plan myself with the enough budget. And then I have to focus on those top 20 sellable items, most selling items, top 20, which is I will put most of the 80% of my budget on the top 20 of the most selling items. I will see my total financial capacity, how much which I have in hand, and I also need to forecast it. And I also have to see how much space I have in my warehouse, because some of my items are very bulky, like ladders are quite bulky, like bicycles are quite bulky as well. So I need to plan my warehouse. So those things which I also consider, then I will decide what's the quantity stock I need to replenish. Then the last part is, how long should I start for sourcing and planning my items for Double 11? It depends. It depends on you. Each supplier are different. Each seller are different, because each supplier has different production time and lead time, and production also, and also the delivery time you also need from your supplier warehouse production or factory to your shipping port, like we have in Guangzhou. From North China to Guangzou, it takes about 3 days to 1 week. And from Guangzou, loading to the container to Singapore, it takes 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So altogether, about 1 month. So I need to calculate the overall logistic time to my warehouse. So usually, myself, I take about 1 month's time. I don't know for you, maybe in local supply, you have less, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days. But in case your local supplier also out of stock, what to do? They also have to wait. So you also have to plan this time in. Okay, and also you have to think about the recent months. What's your turnaround time? The particular item in recent months, how does the turnaround time? Then you plan. The last is what to do if there's a sourcing issue. Yeah, there's a few ways you can do. When you started in your seller center, your seller shops, you need to establish more than one suppliers. You don't have just one suppliers, because nowadays are all global sourcing. Secondly, in case urgent issue, like I just mentioned, the weather issue, you need to change your supplier immediately without hesitating. Either you find a second source, or you find from another sources to do it. Number 3, plan earlier to restock. And then you can use your SKU to find different suppliers from various suppliers, so in case of shortages. Okay, this is all I want to share with you, and I hope there's some help to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Philip. Thank you, Philip, for sharing. Okay, I think we have some questions, but I think just now with the way I did it, of course, it's a bit weird. I think we'll just go straight into the quiz session first. Then after that, we'll slowly tackle the Q&A sessions for Philip itself. Okay. So, Philip, what questions do you have for us today?
Okay.
Wait, I guess actually let our crew change the screen for the quiz. Okay. Okay. Come on. I think you overshot. Overshot. You guys saw a question. Okay, let's go. Okay, let me do this. Okay, the first quiz question we have. Why is stock planning important? I think Philip mentioned. I think just went through the quiz itself. Philip, can you step one step to the right? Because it's right. Okay, get there. Yeah, excellent. All right. So why is stock planning important? 1, anticipate current orders. 2, efficiently push current stocks. 3, accurately restock before and after events. I think that's
events. Sorry.
All of the above are correct. So I think let's again we'll give out like $10 Lazada voucher to you, so you can spend on the next sale event itself, for Lazada code itself. So Philip, what's the correct answer for this?
Number 4, all above are correct.
Okay, all above are correct. Okay, all above are correct. So and stop planning allows you to anticipate your current order, effectively push current product, and accurately restock before and after events is I think also stock planning is very important so that you know. I think a very important concept I always like tell I mentioned is that your mega campaign sales is very also effective dependent on your stock, right?
Yeah.
Because effectively end of the day 20% of your stocks brings in 80% of traffic.
Yeah.
if you lose like half of your stock due to out of stock, you also lose the half of the other half of the whole traffic itself.
Correct.
So you want to keep your campaign running for the full day itself. Your stocks planning is definitely very important the day itself. Oh, question. Is that a question answer itself?
Okay, the question is.
Okay, I thought red line was answer.
Okay.
So question 2. Having good stock planning in place means 1. Able to supply the right item, the right quantities, minimize your costs, maximize your sales, boost the profit, prepare for Christmas campaign only.
The question is which one is not exactly right?
Okay.
Okay.
Which one is not exactly correct? It's a bit not exactly correct. I think it's quite obvious lah. So which one is not exactly correct one? I think it's quite obvious. I think is number, which is 4. Right.
Number 4, prepare for Christmas campaign only.
Oh. So how many days do you your stock planning? How many days do you prepare for?
For myself, I prepare 1.5 months already.
For how many days a year? How many days a year? Which are the more important days that you normally prepare for?
Oh, Double 11, of course.
And what other
Christmas sales also.
Okay. Double 11, Christmas sales,
and New Year.
New Year sales. Yeah. So I think because of the category he's selling in, that's why his focus is more towards like the end.
Yes, because another one is mid of the June because it's Great Singapore Sale. And then from February after New Year till the June, it's very slow. I mean, although there's some campaign, but it's very slow. So the focus is from Great Singapore Sales and then September onwards, October, until Chinese New Year. There's the highest sales peak.
All right, so that is, again, you do have stock planning only for one time a year. You have stock planning for a few times a year.
Yes,
you need
correct.
To that.
Yeah, every time you need to have a stock planning because you cannot have a stock planning for 6 months. It's too big.
Yeah,
so 1.5 months to maximum 2 months is what we are planning. So it will be good.
And it's very important because every season, different things sells.
Yes, exactly.
You cannot have like you plan for Christmas only. You sell during Christmas, then your next other season, next 11 months you don't sell anything.
Yeah, right, correct.
So you need to cater your assortment to what your stock planning stock planning is. All right, congratulations. I think we have a winner, but I'll announce the winner. Okay, number 3. Wait, how long should you start? I think he mentioned just now. Answer again. I hope you got listened to the answer that he shared just now. How long should you start your sourcing and planning? 2 weeks prior to Double 11, 4 weeks prior to Double 11, 8 weeks prior to Double 11, and depending on logistic process time and stock turnaround time in recent months, which is correct according to today's sharing. Okay, this one I think he shared a bit, but I think the more question is right now. Is last year's sourcing time longer than this year, or this year is longer than last year? Last year we were in COVID. Last year we were in COVID. This year is a bit different. This year we are in like
this year we sourcing a little bit earlier, 1 week earlier. Yeah, it's about 1.5 months to 2 months. I already started to plan. So because I also consider the weather, because this month that so many typhoons around this area, and then I also planning this year will be about 4 times to 5 times. So I earlier planning. So about 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the correct answer for this?
Number 4. It depends on logistic processing time and stock turnaround in the recent months event.
So I think one of the key guidelines that Philip was trying to drive was that, again, we cannot take a guideline for this because it really depends on
individual
and the country also.
And the country of your supplier.
Wherever you source from.
Yeah. Even if you source from USA, they have even longer.
Yeah, even longer.
Even last time, and USA has embargo in the port, and it will take 6 months. So sometimes it depends on. It's very individual.
Yeah, so of course, and then you take note of what the current dynamics of the country is.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that China is still currently semi-lockdown situation.
Yeah, correct.
It might be still facing some manpower issue here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be a bit difficult for them to get your products. Yeah, and for it's still we're still expecting a longer logistic time as compared to. So
exactly.
But it's always never too early to start planning early.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay, so okay. So just on quickly, just now for Brian's session, Shatika, Catherine C, Elaine soon. Congratulations for winning yourself a $10 Lazada voucher. Again, we will announce the winners for Philip's one next round because there's a lot of the few answers we want to go through itself. But I think more important thing right now is we want to go to the Q&A session itself, right? So this Q&A session, we have the QR code for Philip's WhatsApp group. You can just talk to him more, ask him more questions, which is not, he cannot review here because he's in the Lazada building itself. Okay, you can always drop them in their individual WhatsApp group and then join and ask them their questions.
Okay.
I think one of the most common questions I hear is how people are asking how many. So previously you say you started with 15 SKUs.
Yes.
That was like 4 years ago.
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
In the very beginning.
15 SKUs. So what's the first product? Remember, what's the first product you started off in?
Yeah, just I saw in the picture was a cooking pot, frying pot.
What made you started off with cooking pot?
Yeah, because my category was the home and living item, and the cooking pot is every family need to cook, and that was a nice and colorful and the coated, so it's it is good one, and selling price at the 19.15, and then the Double 11 at 12.90. That is a fantastic, very attractive price at those times.
Those times.
Those are nowadays there's so many already.
That is like common already.
Yeah.
So, first question they will ask you, how many SKUs do you have now?
Now I have about 300 SKUs.
300 different SKUs, but of course like you retire some,
more or less now currently about 300. Yeah, it was retired some about 200, replaced, and every year.
What's the biggest amount of SKUs you have at one time?
I mean the quantity of SKU?
What's the biggest amount that you have at one time?
Amount in one time, I mean the one campaign?
No, that means what was the biggest amount of SKUs you have in your warehouse at one time?
Oh, that's the ladders.
Yeah.
The home ladders for home use. The ladders for home use.
It's still selling in there.
Yeah. Now I have retired the ladders. I don't want to disclose, but I have retired the ladder because it was space taken and it was so heavy to and also the after sales and the repairing, so much headache. So I just want to retire it.
Okay. All right. So I think just now you mentioned also a lot about the APP application. I think a lot of sellers want to learn is what application are you using? If it's not convenient for you to say here, you can say join your WhatsApp group, then you help.
Yeah. I don't want to say which name because it's kind of the very sensitive. But if you guys want to know, you can contact me and join my APP. I will share with you, and it's free. But it's not free to use, but it's free to tell you.
Okay. So technically, very importantly, you don't know what application is here to use. So what the application helps you to consolidate your stocks on various platforms, and then let you know.
Yeah, exactly. And when I bring the stocks I key in, then when I sell it from different platform, you automatically minus off. I can easily to pick up my stock list and value just anytime I want. It's very useful.
Okay. I think they're asking like, is it ERP or warehouse management software? I think it's a warehouse management software. Don't think too much. ERP
is too big.
Too big. ERP like human resource accounting.
No, just warehouse management APP.
I think okay, you start to. I think I have a very good question right here.
Okay.
So people are asking, at which point did you start to hire social media staff?
Whenever I need, because I don't have fixed social media stuff, because I don't do it advertisement all the times. When I need, I have part-time. It's easier, it's cheap. Freelancer. Then they can do that for me, and then they can do it once the project ends. I pay, and that's it. I don't have to hold the staff all the times.
So how often do you engage them in a year?
4 or 5 times, depends on the event. Usually about 2-3 months prior to the event, then I decided which item I want to use, then I engage, then I plan that, and then pay for it.
Okay, and then, for social media, I'm also very curious about this social media stuff. So, if you engage them 4 or 5 times a year, when do you realize that you needed to hire freelancers to do this job?
When do I realize? Because, I only engaged them in the last 2 years, because previously the social media is not that important or not that awareness. But after recent 2-3 years, I realized, and the market still realized, that social media is one of the very important tools and way to marketing your product. So I understand that. I start to engage them.
Definitely. So I think So a very important thing is, of course, to take note is that, of course, I know everyone is on the TikTok bandwagon right now. Like, everyone's like, oh, TikTok is here, TikTok is on e-commerce now. But of course, I actually have a chat with some sellers who are of the scene itself. A lot of them mentioned TikTok is not that easy to enter. The barrier entry is actually not that easy.
Yeah.
As platform, it's not that easy. There's a lot more things you need to do to be on TikTok e-commerce selling.
Yeah.
So you want to explore? I won't promote it. I'm not here to promote this stuff. Okay, again, it's for you to explore your own. I will not
Right,
I won't mention anything more about that product. So it's for you to mention anything more. All right. So again, thank you, Philip, for sharing. Well, I think he's explaining quite a little bit of stuff. And Philip has been here every year to share about something about customer service, warehousing. This year, talk about stock. I don't know what's for next year, but of course, we hope to keep this program running with the support of other sellers itself. Again, so definitely, Philip is here to share his experience, like his stories, that he tell you that, beginning when he started selling, he didn't expect this would happen.
Yeah.
Like he thought everything would be smooth selling, stock will come in on time, nothing will happen, and he sell as per normal on the day itself. So in this lesson, I think we learned that stock planning is very important. Like anything you want to tell us before the Double 11, since you are just 3 weeks away only.
Well, I hope everybody have good stock planning and very good sales on Double 11 coming 1 month from now, and exactly 1 month from now. Okay. So I think do your stock replenish as early as possible, because time is only 1 month. If you don't do that, probably you don't have too much thing to sell.
And don't plan for Double 11. There's 12.
Oh yeah,
Don't play for 1 month. Then you puncture, you never go out, you puncture all the way to the end of the year already.
So the stock planning is ongoing, not only just doing one time. So every event you need to do it. Is a longer preparation or shorter. It all depends on the importance, and depends on what is your expectation for the event sales.
Of course, I think we have some slightly more questions. Just now we talk about social media stuff. People suddenly being interested. So where do you find these social media people, freelancers?
Well, there's a lot of friend referral, and also you can get from the Google website. There's a name, and there's a friend refer to me. The friend say, hey, because I have a friend, he owns so many social influencers. So he introduced to me. Then I said, okay, I engage this and that.
Well, so again, you want to know, please join his WhatsApp group. I can hear expose here.
Okay, good.
You have a friend who I can recommend you freelancers to do your job.
Okay, good. I will let use it.
Okay, like join the WhatsApp group, he will definitely be able to actually elaborate a lot more on there itself. Okay. Okay, last question. Let's do this as the last question. Okay. Which marketing expense do you use most? Lazada ads, cashback, or anything else? What's your biggest marketing expense right now?
Expense is Lazada ads. And I use a lot of the ads on the keyword search and also the product promotions. Yeah.
So I think it's also
explore.
It's very important also to do a bit about your sponsored solutions itself. It's okay. But later Daniel will talk about he will talk about the sponsored solutions itself. You explain a bit on that. All right. Again, thank you, Philip. Next one we'll bring on is actually Barry. Okay, Barry will of course talk about Barry will talk about pricing strategy. Let's I will just take a second, invite Barry. Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome to Lazada Seller Ambassador Day 2022. My name is Barry. Today I'm here to share some idea on pricing strategy. Those who have joined us last year, my member, we discussed about how to price the product according to segment. Today I'm going to touch on another topic on pricing, is to how to increase the selling price. Let's go straight to my sharing now. For those who have met before, nice to see you all joining us today. For those who haven't had a chance to meet, again, my name is Barry from Lava E-commerce. Okay, what Lava E-commerce does is we manage different brands and help them to set up their official store on Lazada. I'm fortunate to be one of the Lazada trainer. Hope to meet some of the seller who can join my upcoming year-end master class. Next, what is pricing? Why is it so important that we need to strategize it? First, pricing, it can create value. When you sell a product to customer, you are solving customer pain points. Second, we want to deliver value. We need to learn how to communicate the value of the product to customer through pricing so that customer will understand it and wanted to buy it. Third, we want to preserve value. While doing pricing, don't forget about the after-sales service. It's not once you sell, you forget about it. That customer felt that it's worth to buy from your store. As an e-commerce seller, we are affected by anything around the world. Some of the event we thought is temporary is here to stay with us longer than we expected. Around the world, we got pandemic, wars, caused all the raw material price, logistic costs to go up few times in the past few years. And in turn, we increase the cost of the goods we are selling. Closer to home, I think a lot of you realize that with increase of interest rate and GST, we will expect to further increase in our business costs. But so many areas making the cost increase, which means it eat into our profit margin. That is very painful for us as an e-commerce seller. So one of the solutions is to increase the selling price. But that's the topic most seller is thinking about, but very hard to implement. For me, I always, when I wanted to increase the price, I worried how will my customer react, especially my regular customer. And even I wanted, decide to do it, how should I do it? Some of the seller might ask me, should I put on a notice on my official store to inform all the customer that we are going to increase our price? But the answer is no. So what we do is, because the new customer who come to our store, they actually don't know the old price. So you don't need to announce. And the most important thing is how to take care of the regular customer that we have. For the regular customer, we will touch on it in a later slide. Next, I'm going to share 3 simple ways that we can use to increase our pricing. First, I want to touch on something called sandwich pricing strategy. It's for us to create different products for customer to compare the price. In turn, we can mask the increase of the pricing. Today, let's say we want to push our key product, which is this SKU B, which is a very nice full functioning massage chair, full body massage chair. I use it as an example. Next, we actually want to create or use the existing a cheaper, lower price SKU A. And then we also want to come up with a flagship SKU, which is a very high-end massage chair with AI function, which costs much higher. So when we put them all together with the SKU B in the middle, resulting in customer have the mindset of, oh, B is the most value for money out of the 3. So in turn, customer will most likely choose B as the item that purchased. This is our point when we want to use this strategy. So one of the key points in the call is to let customer have more than one choice when they purchase your item. So high price item is to reflect the key product item is cheap and value for money. Whereas having a low price item is to anchor your price point to let customer know that without spending too much more, I thought a bit, I have a better quality product or even more functions. Point to take note when you apply this sandwich pricing strategy. For the no price item, typically the profit margin is very low. It's not advisable when you use this strategy to push too much resources and your marketing dollar to push this low price item. And when you display the all 3 items together, remember always put the key item that you want to push at the middle. Next, always don't forget to guide the traffic to showcase the 3 items. Again, the key item please put at the center of the 3 items. So next, we can touch on by increasing the product value. Just now we talked about pricing by comparison. Actual value of a product also be compared. So to increase the product value, in turn you can increase the price. One way is to increase the quality of the product. For example, the workmanship of your product. Or getting the latest model from your supplier with more features. Next, you can increase the price after you actually improve the listing. You have a better thumbnail, artwork, or description. In turn, will give a customer a better feel of your product. That's when you can actually increase your price. Next, we also can bundle your key product that you want to push with GWP, which is gift with purchase, when increasing the selling price. In a way, the perceived value of the free gift, customers are more willing to buy even after the price increases. For example, if you increase the price by $20, yet you give a free gift that is worth $20, but maybe cost to you just $2. Yeah. Or example, you can give an additional warranty, which in a way no cost to you. Last but not least, we also can increase the price by changing the packaging. And once we improve the old packaging, because as of now, we find out that actually customers who bought from us before, normally can remember the price because they recognize the item and they actually tag the image of the price equals to this item. So we actually very useful for us to change the perception of previously low cost item or some item that we use for price war. We now want to sell it as a normal price. We can use this method. This is some of the example. From changing the packaging itself, you give customer a new refresh look of the products. And if you even change the packaging, right, give customer a more high-end look. That's way you can actually increase the price. And as I mentioned before, when you increase the price, please don't forget our loyal customer. So what we can do is we can give them some special discount for staying loyal and repeat purchase from us. But we don't need to give very deep discount. It becomes into our profit margin again. We can make use of the follower voucher, let them enjoy the old price for a period of time. And those who come with a broadcast feature, you can broadcast with those who purchased before with the special price voucher. That's all for my sharing. To summarize, when cost into our profit margin, sometimes increasing price cannot be avoided. But let's do it with some planning and strategy. Thank you very much. I got two quiz.
Okay, right. Well, before we go quiz, I think I'll just quickly summarize what Barry mentioned. So Barry mentioned about pricing strategy basically from a two-angle perspective. One is from a sandwich strategy perspective, which is of course definitely that of course that only can be done if you have different variant of the same item itself lah.
Yes.
If you only have one item of that variant, you cannot do sandwich unless you have different variant of the same item, then it's possible for you to do the sandwich strategy. If not, it's impossible to do a sandwich strategy. And then he also talked about increasing the product value through various method itself. Right, yes. Right. He mentioned like some of things like, oh, it's a bit right now because things are more expensive right now. Yes. To increase the price of the item, you need to like showcase some reformatting or some introduction or even some ways that you're doing it so that you can reprice it in a better book of price. All right, I think let's go quickly towards the quiz itself. Okay, first question. What are the factors that cause the increase of costs? One is increased tax. Two is B, war. C is pandemic itself. Last is all of the above. I think the answer is quite obvious over here. I think of course it's not just only these factors. They're definitely it's not limited to I think the things that we have over here. Whichever correct answer is. is really for you to think about is because of the current situation that we have in the world. I think the world is a fair thing. There are things like inflation, recession.
I think these are the factors that we have no control.
Yeah. so I think the overall answer is actually all of the above. All the above, that were actually all this like tax increase, wars, pandemic. These are factors that definitely cause the increase of the food is of the price of the item itself.
Yeah, the overhead cost.
Yeah, overhead cost. So everything, like even everything goes up. You have to still continue to sell. And then people, one of the key perception is that one of the key problem is that, like what Barry mentioned, is that like people still remember the same cost that they buy the product from previously. So neglecting the fact that previously you may have other costing in fact is this. But no worries. Let's go to the next question itself. Next quiz. Okay, for pricing, sandwich pricing, what is the best position to position the key product itself? Okay, I think again the keyword of which is sandwich technically represents it all.
Yeah.
So what is
quite obvious?
Okay, I think the answer is definitely B. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, sandwich pricing is a pricing where you have 3 different variants of products, and then you probably want to sell something that is in the middle one, to market a middle one. So you actually give the lower one. You actually mark up the lower one, and I don't know.
The lower one actually as a anchor point.
Anchor.
To actually you can show this kind of pricing strategy. You can even you walk into McDonald's, they are using it. You today apply Netflix, they are using it. You always have 3 to choose from. The first one is very basic, only have the basic feature. The middle one is usually what they want to push. It's a very value for money. Just top up a bit, you got extra feature. The third one is premium, very expensive. So most likely, most of people will choose the center one. Yeah, that's why we always want to put the center. Is people are used to buying that, choosing the middle one, which is value for money for them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I only had 2 quizzes.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay. I think let's go to the questions. I think some of the questions that someone will ask, what if like I don't have so I don't have such a big assortment, then I only have one variant of each product. Then what kind of if I know a certain product was to sell during a mega campaign, what pricing strategy would you adopt for that one product?
So what we do is actually to sometimes we bundle them together to create another new assortment. Yeah, sometimes as I mentioned just now, we can bundle it with some free gift or even extension warranty or even different variants. Yeah, even colors. So in terms of pricing strategy for 1111, usually we no choice have to be the most competitive one. Yeah, but we don't want to go into a price war with competitor. Yeah, too much that will result in losing money without objective lah. Of course, if this is your strategy to attract the traffic in, then this is another case. Yeah, but all in all, you shouldn't cut until so low for your key product, because that's where you use your key product to earn the profit that you need. Yeah.
So I think one of you is, how do you deal with situations where consumer come and take to you, say, oh, last time your pricing is $9.90, now you put your pricing at $12.90.
We do have customer that
How do you deal with this kind of situation? Because they know because they say price increase, but they don't take it as, they see it as last time I buy this price, today why your price like that?
We actually have a very strong customer team, shop service team. We actually talk to them like we don't treat them like customer, we treat them like friend. We actually explain to them the reason why we increase, and we actually promise our service is tip top lah. That not to worry, when you buy from us, you have this warranty guarantee, and at the same time, we also make sure our price is not too far off from our competitor. Yeah. So in the essence that this is a regular customer that follow us. So as I mentioned, one of the way that in the initial stage, we actually give them some special voucher to let them can enjoy the old price for a period of time, ease them into the new pricing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think because Barry has been with actually selling e-commerce for a very, very long time. Again, I think previously he was selling something else, and actually he came out and set out his own company which he called Lava E-commerce. I think just briefly talk about what Lava E-commerce really do.
Okay. In short, we actually e-commerce enabler. So a lot of brands or local SME, they wanted to venture into e-commerce, but they don't have the manpower or know-how. So they approach us to outsource their e-commerce and management to us. So we have them manage the store head to toe by listing, by joining campaign, by answering Q&A Monday to Sunday. So that's what we do, and even order processing as well.
So I think if you want to know more, just join his WhatsApp group to understand more about it. Yeah. So again, definitely, if you have friends, you have you know someone who wants to come to e-commerce, but I know manpower cost is overhead is very high in Singapore, and then these are some of and resources are actually not very hard to get right now. To come to e-commerce, so you can always look out for all these services available to help you to grow on all this on various platforms itself. All right, again, thank you, Barry, for sharing on pricing strategy. I think last year they also mentioned they shared something about regarding pricing strategy.
Yes,
also.
correct.
Also
this from the other angle.
Yeah, this is from another angle. So if you want to, of course, know more, I think the live stream from last year is really still available. Yep. We can of course see the live stream from last year itself. All right, so without further ado, okay, I think thank you, Barry. We're going to invite our next speaker, which is Chi San. He will talk about one of the key concepts, which is he revamped, which is called top sales or nothing. I think it'll be a very interesting topic. So let's go to it. Let's change the scene and wait for and welcome Chi San.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sishan. I'm here to present on the topic I'm most interested in when I do hiring for sales. So I always tell my salespeople, we need to be top sales. For this very simple reason, which I'll actually go through with everyone, why top sales is so important in what we do. Okay. Okay. So take maybe like 30 seconds, take a look at these two listings, Imagine you're someone looking for a monitor and you see two sellers selling the same monitor. I'm going to tell you that these two are the exact same monitor. The warranty is the same, the specification is the same. From which seller will you buy your monitor from? Okay, the answer is kind of obvious because one seller is selling $10 cheaper than the others. So very likely, almost all of you is going to choose to buy from the cheaper seller. Now, you notice, right, the difference is $10. $10 is actually less than 5% of the product cost. But if you look at the stars, right, which is actually a product review, and from the product review, I guess you can estimate the lifetime sales of the two listings. You will see that the seller that's selling a bit cheaper, they're getting like 115 reviews. For the seller who's selling a bit more expensive, they're just getting 5 reviews. So the difference in these two listings may be less than 5% in terms of the selling price, but the difference in sales is close to 20 to 1. So this kind of thing is something that worries us a lot because we feel that in this market, right, there's this winner takes all effect. So that's why we push really hard to just be 1% better than the other seller. If you refer to the previous listing, right, you can see maybe 1% better is like for example the left listing, the seller A is actually the mall, the brand owner itself, BenQ. The right listing is the retailer. So maybe between choosing to buy from a retailer or buying from the brand owner, customers may choose to buy from the brand owner itself. Even though that there shouldn't be any other difference because both products are all warranted by the brand owner. So that 1% edge or that 5% edge or the 1% edge, we're always pushing very hard because once you're just slightly the edge over your competitor, there's a good chance you take almost all the sales. And what it means is that after you take all the sales, what happens next, right? So with all the sales, there's this snowball effects you have to think about. So when all our sales come to one seller, the seller is going to reap like economies of scale. If you're in the production, if you're a brand owner, you'll be able to manufacture more products. When you're able to manufacture more monitors, for example, your cost per unit will go down, and then you'll be able to be more aggressive in either marketing or your pricing. You're going to be able to offer more to your customers. And as you continue to be able to offer better prices to your customers, your competitors will find it harder to compete with you, and then you're going to get more sales. So this is a snowball effect which we are talking about. So this is something important for you to bear in mind, to say at the start of your game, at the start of your business, why it's so important, even when you're small, to start targeting to be the number one that in the product you want to list. Yeah. And then as people get bigger and bigger, what happens next? As the sellers on Lazada get bigger and bigger, as they start to capture more and more of the market, what happens next? Very simple. The smaller sellers will find it very hard to survive. The smaller sellers may quit the industry, and there's a bit of a market consolidation going on. So again, when I stress to my sales team is that before this market consolidation happens, we want to make sure we are in the position to be the one to be left in the market at the end of the game. So aiming for top sales has always been very important to a company. Being top sales doesn't mean you are best 100% of the time. Being top sales maybe just means you're 1% better than your competitor. So for us, some of the ways maybe we compete will be through store pickup. Our store pickup location is favorable. So maybe our listings, everything is the same as a competitor, but we offer an Orchard location for a store pickup. But other competitors, they may not even open their Changi or Tuas warehouse for a pickup, because warehouse is a bit different from a retail setting. So just a little bit of advantage may be able to drive that extra bit of sales and be able to push us to this snowball effect, market consolidation, and to actually just remain in the market. So one way to actually see how well you're doing on Lazada in terms of monthly sales is just go to the Lazada app, search for whatever you want to find and click on top sales. From the top sales itself, right, there's this very useful data where it shows you the monthly sales. I'm very sure some of you in my previous slide, you would have been saying that, hey, the number of review stars actually refers to total sales. So, whoever's listing is around for longer, it does mean that that listing is going to have higher reviews, all right? But if you break it down to monthly sale, I think it's a lot more fair. And you can see that monthly sales, how are you doing compared to your competitor? So if I'm restricting to this particular keyword, GW2480, so obviously this listing is doing pretty well. But as a seller, as a reseller, maybe you want to target this keyword. But as a brand owner, you may want to target, for example, 24-inch monitor instead of this GW2480, because more people are going to search for the 24-inch monitor. And if you are doing very well in 24-inch monitor, your keyword to target will be monitor. And if you happen to be the number one seller for monitor, that's good for you, because that's when all the money is, and that's why you can really conquer the market in this home monitor category. So I think one thing to mention is that before you set up to say I want to be a number one for the keyword, identify the keyword you want and try to see whether it's achievable first. Then after that, go ahead and try to hit that number one spot in that keyword they're targeting. And again, I stress again, number one is really important. Number two doesn't have any of these effects. Only number one has this effect. Yeah. So keep in mind, only Lazada app has this. I know most of you, and like myself also, we work on desktop, so we don't normally scroll through the app itself. We usually on the desktop. On the desktop, I cannot find this information right now. Yeah, or it's only on the app that I can find this information. And one more thing before I go to the next slide is that say right, assuming there's a competitor 2 here, right? So maybe competitor 1 is doing 9 sales per month, and competitor is doing like 3 sales a month. One good way is to record these numbers down. So maybe the following week, or if you don't have time, the following month, again, check back these keywords to see how well you're progressing. So every month you look at your monthly sales, and then you see whether you're trending up or trending down. If you're trending up, right, and your competitor is trending down, or maybe you're trending up and your competitor is also trending up, then you can actually do an estimate of how long more you need to overtake your competitor to be number one. If you feel that you're still behind your competitor and it takes you're not even on a trend to be your competitor, maybe some actions could be taken to try to hit the number one spot again. Okay, when I hire a sales team, right, there are some basic expectations. Really basic. No product, no sales. So obviously, number one, keep the products in stock. Number two, make sure you're selecting good products. My title is top sales or nothing. So if a product doesn't seem to be able to hit top sales, right, and it's not a profitable product to sell, right, there's a good chance we won't even sell your product. Not everything is suitable for e-commerce. We have to be aware of that. Sometimes items that are too cheap, you understand that shipping fee on Lazada is easily $2.50. So if your product is 50 cents and then you add another $2.50 for shipping costs, it's not going to make sense to a lot of customers. Customers will just buy from like retail stores. So selecting our products is really important. Then sales team is expected to keep the price competitive. See what your competitors are doing. Even if you claim you have no competitor, but there are also similarities out there, right? So price competitiveness and attractive and clear listings. So after a customer look at a listing, they should be able to understand what this is about instead of having to ask too many questions or follow-up questions. Like for example, very common question that may happen is the dimensions of the product, because your picture can show the design, but it doesn't really show the dimensions. So spend a bit of effort to make sure your listing is really clear, to be like 1 or 2% better than your competitor. Maybe if your competitor has missed out the product weight or the product dimensions, your customers come to your listing, they see that, hey, I know what size I want, and then they're not in the mood to ask question and then get a reply, so they may just click from you. Yeah, just a little bit better will be able to catch you and get you the sales. Now, on theory, as someone who actually does a lot of work in office, on theory this is very easy, right? Just keep products in stock, select good products, things like that. Then we will get the sales. But that's in theory. The problem is in real life, our stock happens all the time. I don't know whether this happens to you, or it doesn't happen to you. But for my company, we always happen to have our stock issues. And then, before our stock, maybe let's talk about, let's say we have the luxury to realize that the product is going out of stock, but it's not out of stock yet. So before our stock, what can we do, right? Should we increase price, or should we let it go out of stock? So I think the earlier presenter also said, if you increase price, the customers will complain, hey, I thought your price was $9.90, why is it $12.90 now? Then how are you going to explain to customers? Are you going to explain to customers, we increase price because we are short of stocks and we want to sell for a higher price because we want more profits? Again, I think this depends on what your business direction is. If you're a brand owner, this kind of price fluctuations may not be so good. But if you're a reseller, you don't own the brand, you're the reseller for the brand. Maybe you want to be more focused on your profit, because at the end of the day, if a customer is buying in a previous number GW2480, they may just be buying from the cheapest seller. So you may not need to be $10 cheaper. You could raise your price to maybe just $1 cheaper. People may still buy from you, especially when you're in a shortage. So when you're in a shortage, right, whether you increase price or not, it really depends on business. But just knowing that you're about to be shortage and having the time to decide on what's the next best course of action is pretty important and pretty good. So don't waste the opportunity if you find yourself in that situation. And also, sometimes even right now, I face a lot of issues where, so I say being top sales is really important. So sellers have driven this concept so far to even going to making a loss, just to secure that number 1 slot. So what do you do? Okay. I cannot recommend a solution for everyone. It really depends on your business again. My company is Qisan.com. We resell video games. So as a reseller of video games, we understand that we do not own any of these rights or brands. So what we do is that on a day-to-day basis, we try to make sure we are profitable, because at the end of the day, things like Mario, things like God of War, things like PlayStation all belong to someone else. So if we lose money for the brand PlayStation, if we lose money for the brand Mario, we're not going to get any. We're not even get a thank you note, right? So we're not going to have any profits in the future. So for us, we are very profit focused. If we start losing money on the product, right, that to us is a cut-off point to say, no, we're not going to sell the product. We're not going to compete on price anymore. We may start bundling things in so that we have a bit of we're still able to secure some customers, because there are still customers who's willing to buy from us because of our service, because of our speed, because of our location, right? So we try to make sure our price is still kind of reasonable, but we will not sell below cost. The huge exception being for products that we are having dead stocks. So in retail, I'm sure you understand that sometimes you are faced with dead stocks and you need to clear the products. That's why you may want to sell a bit cheaper for a while or temporarily. Yeah. And also the other thing is that when you see a competitor selling below cost, so I mentioned the word temporary. Within Lazada, You can tell when the competitor has less than 10 stocks. But if you check a competitor store in another marketplace, you'll be able to see how many stocks they have left. So go to the other marketplace, check how many stocks competitor have. Then maybe you can think, how many stocks my competitor have. Maybe they only have the last 30 sets to lose. Then maybe I don't have to match them. I can let them go first. So these are some of the little tricks we have to decide whether we want to match them or just give up the position of being number one. Yeah. Right. So I need to remind everyone that why is sales so important to a company? Why in this company we focus to be number one in sales? We're not focused number one to be number one best working environment in Singapore. No, we are not that. Or number one best food in our pantry. No, we are not going for that. So why is it so important? Because for us, sales is the backbone of our company. We may be called e-commerce, there may be tech to it, but programmers are not the core of this company. The company is sales. So this company is driven by sales. No sales, no nothing. Yeah. So with that in mind, right, that's why we push to have the best people in sales. And since I'm mentioning that sales is the lifeblood of this company, and e-commerce, as we all know, is 24/7. And recent Lazada change has decreased the ship on time over the weekend public holiday by 1 day, things like that. So how many hours do you think that the sales team should work? Maybe let's say it should work in the day, or no, should work in a week. Yeah. Feel free to put your comments in the comment section about this topic. As someone, maybe as someone working in sales or someone as in a manager position in your company, how many hours should a sales team clock in 1 week? Okay. I cannot see your comments. So personally, from my opinion, when I hire my team, I tell them, I'm not interested in tracking your leave. I'm not interested in tracking your MC. But when there's a sales campaign, I need you to be there. And a lot of sales campaigns are predictable. 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, all these are very predictable. It can fall on a Sunday. That means you need to work on a Sunday. No choice, because we are chasing sales, right? Why is it so important to chase sales on the campaign day? I'm very sure all of you know. Campaign day is the worst campaign will be those random numbers. Will be like maybe 3 times your usual sales. So maybe those you can give up. But any other campaign is easily 10 times your daily sales. 11/11 for us can even be up to 60 times your daily sales, right? You miss this 1 day, you're gonna lose 2 months worth of sales. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter that you're chasing your 60 other days. You miss that 1 day of 11/11. That's when all your sales is gone. So 11/11, no matter which day it falls on, no matter what time is it, you have to be on standby 24/7. To us, it's very common. Some of the less common ones would be maybe a big in my industry. When a video game is announced, there's a lot of hype. It doesn't matter whether the announcement is big. Maybe 3 p.m. in the US, which is about 3 a.m. in the morning. So first thing in the morning, once you wake up, you have to be alert and say, okay, let's open pre-order, let's collect orders for this game, because a lot of Singaporean gamers, we actually follow US news. So once US announced that there's a big game coming up, we have to open the pre-order and start collecting orders already. So this is something more typical to my industry. Having said 24/7, I don't expect my guys to work 24/7, but maybe standby 24/7 is really expected. It drags to the point that even let's say you're on a holiday, it becomes a point it's unavoidable. When you're on holiday, you have to have data, you have to have laptop just in case there's some sudden announcement in your product line. Then you find that, hey, I have to get to make some adjustments to prices or make some adjustments to my listing or create a new listing urgently. It doesn't happen all the time, and it's really difficult to motivate people to work 24/7. But as a manager, I think this is something that you should be focused about, because if you're not the one doing it, your competitor will also be riding on the wave. It's all about getting on the wave. The sales momentum is there. Make sure you're on to catch it. Yep. So actually, that's about end of my presentation. You would hear that there's not a lot of technical things on what we can do. The technical foundations can be taught, price competitive and all this, but most important in my company, I feel, is to try to impart the values to my salespeople. So when it's busy, come work. When it's not busy, go ahead, take all the rest you need. I'm not even, like I said, I'm not tracking on leave, and a lot of staff are on work from home basis. So we don't really even track, what you're doing at home. But when we see sales day and we see sales number or the monthly sales is there, that's all we need actually. Yeah. So hopefully this gives you some ideas or inspiration on how, maybe some tips on how you can motivate your sales team better to work harder on the correct days. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of our presentation. Should we go to the questions or?
Yeah, I think go to quiz first.
Quiz first, okay, sure.
Yeah, I think let's go to a quiz first. Then we after talk about questions itself.
Hmm.
Easier. I think if we have one quiz, I think let's go to your quiz.
Okay.
Let's switch the slide.
Just a very simple quiz.
Let's switch the slide over. Alright, so just one question, quick question. As of 12 October 2020, where can you find monthly sales figure of monthly sales of a competitor listing? Okay, this one is on Lazada website only, on Lazada app only, both A and B. D, none of the above. I think he briefly mentioned this just now. He did briefly mention this.
I did mention it can be found. He did mention it can be found.
So I think you're going to think about it. So where can you find your sales performance of a competitor's listing? All right, I briefly also remember this. So I think okay, I think we probably have. What's the correct answer?
The correct answer is actually on the Lazada app only. B. I don't know why it's not on the website, but it's on the app only. Yeah, but it's still good information for you to measure how you are standing. Number one or not number one, the number doesn't lie. It's very easy.
Yeah. So I think, so again, if you want to know, like, I think all this information that are there, you can probably make full use of it and then understand basically trends, not just trends, but also basically know how you can actually manage your pricing strategy and
Trend
stuff.
is also very important, So from the numbers, right, we can also see, like, say, we can see the whole category go down. So for example, the top product maybe in the past could sell 400 units a month. Then like maybe 2 months later, you see, why is the number one seller 100 plus units only? But then number one is the number one, so that means it just means the whole category go down. Some category does go down or go up.
Because of seasonality and stuff.
Seasonality.
I think, okay, thank you. We will have pronounced the winners later. But of course, I think let's just quickly go into the questions itself. So I think first question from Hushop. Do you initially sell very cheaply to achieve more sales and review first in order to get top sales? Oh, this is a very cheap question. Do you initially sell very cheaply to achieve more sales and review in order to get top sales?
Okay. For us, how do I put it? Okay, again, this depends on the listing itself. When we try to, I think, if you remember, one thing I said is when the US announced the game is launching, even at 3 AM in Singapore time, we'd be the first to put it out. So if we already had the first move advantage, we may not need to drop price. But if we are coming from behind, dropping price is definitely something that we are considering. But there's so many other ways that we can try to hit top sales except for dropping price. But I want to say that dropping price is one of the tools that we can use. Yeah, it's not necessarily the first thing that we do. Maybe after a week we see things not improving, then we can drop price. Because drop price is actually the easiest among all the tools. Like instantly, right? Your price can drop. So that's why we don't want to do something so easy at the start. We want to do something more difficult. Maybe make our listing prettier. Maybe our title, Yeah, those two are more difficult. So we try to go for that first. If it doesn't work, we'll go for the price. No problem.
Yeah, I think sellers already need to consider that. Of course, like most of the price wars are always generated like seller versus seller. Because seller versus seller, you're trying to engage yourself in the price war. But always think about like areas you can differentiate yourself in the business itself. So I think the next question from Maya P is actually something I think probably you will be very familiar with. What measures do you suggest for products with price control?
For price control, it depends on your brand owner. But I have seen, I don't know whether it is good to mention here, but so some brand owners are very aggressive in their price control. Some brand owners are not aggressive. Some will say, so some brand owners allow the seller to have like store vouchers to discount the price as long as the listed price is following the SRP. Some don't. So I think if you are looking for an example of well done price control, I would recommend looking at Logitech store. Logitech recently had some of the strictest price control, and then what happened subsequently was that now they dominate the market because everyone's selling the same price ma. So which one will the customer buy from? Probably the brand owner. Yeah. So if your brand owner is very strict on price control and they also have a presence on Lazada, it's going to be very hard for you as a reseller to be competing with your brand owner because you are trying to be same price as brand owner. It's going to be very hard. Yeah. Logitech was to the extent that it's not just price, like even freebies, right? You have they will say there's certain freebies that can be given out, cannot be given out. Everything must be in sync with the brand. That's probably what the brand is trying to do, to control products at a price, to position their products. Yeah, but it's very hard if your brand owner is very insistent on price control. Then it goes back to my earlier point on product selection. If your product is so difficult, there's so many other products out there. Why are you focused on selling this keyboard or this mouse? There's so many other keyboard and mouse out there.
Yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion for. Because of course, price control is something you don't have control, but it's something that is enforced to you via the distributorship or via your brand principal owner. So it's something you need to. If it's so strict, why don't you look at alternatives, or even like maybe try to think about building your own brand itself and all these others stuff. So I think it's a curious question to Chi-san. Just Chi-san say that pricing isn't his strongest differentiator. What do you think? What is your strongest differentiator that you have built over the years itself? Do you feel that for Chi-san.com?
I didn't say that pricing is not my strongest differentiator.
I give you face or something there along the line.
I think a lot of years customers still look for us for best pricing. If you can go ahead and check my Google reviews, right? So Google reviews will have complaints about the staff are rude or delivery is a bit damaged, or no, actually no, not delivery damaged. Mainly just staff are rude, or sometimes when we oversell things, we have to cancel order by mistake. Honestly, when overselling, right? If any of my customers watching this, I want to say that this is sincerely our mistake. There's many reasons that we can oversell, but ultimately it's the company's mistake. As for staff is rude, right? It's something that I find it very hard to verify because I know my team. Rude, they are not, but I do understand that some staff are more passive, right? They don't greet you with a welcome to, they don't. So, but we get the reviews and we just bear that in mind because at the end of the day, what really drives the sales in this company is that our prices are low, competitive. It may not be the lowest at every point in time, but it's definitely within top 3 lowest. It's always low. That really drives the sales in the company. And then we deliver fast and we deliver genuine products. I think that's about the most critical for us in e-commerce. How we survive is keeping to our promise of genuine products, delivering what I promise. We don't promise great service. Yeah. And despite the complaints, we are still doing fine.
Yeah. So I think Chi-san, if you really don't know, if you're playing video games since young, you probably know them. They're quite well known since I was like probably my poly years, poly uni years, I heard about them already.
Yeah.
So I think so of course, if you want to learn more from Chi-san has been selling very well for very, very many years. And of course, if you want to talk to him, please communicate with him through the WhatsApp group itself. And of course, if there's anything that could not be mentioned here, maybe he could mention in the group itself. Maybe I don't know promises as for the time. But of course, once again, thank you, Chi-san, for sharing his thoughts on all this stuff, especially from his perspective, from him selling as a marketplace seller for such a long time, and very, very, very being a veteran in the market itself and being able to share some of the thoughts that he has. But I think you already need to think deeper into what he really mentioned, because what he mentioned, you already can think some time and think about it and go a bit deeper and actually explore more ideas on his concepts itself. All right. So next time I'll actually invite last presenter of the day. Invite Daniel. Daniel is a new ambassador. He's also ex-Lazadian, ex-Lazadian himself. Okay, so I'll welcome him to actually talk about his which a lot of people ask about his sponsor. How do you utilize sponsored solutions during the mega campaign period itself? All right, I'll invite Daniel. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Daniel. So I previously did a live stream earlier 2 months ago when I first onboarded as a new seller ambassador. So hello to those that have met me before and have not met me. So my name is Daniel. Yep, like Wei Lu mentioned, I was once part of Lazada 3-4 years ago, and now I'm also outside doing my own engagement in terms of having my own store and doing some work for some of the brands out there. So today, the topic that I will be speaking a little bit more about is more specific to sponsor discovery. So the title, as it mentions, how to set up sponsor discovery for 1111. So I think a lot of questions, I think within my group chats, or as well as some of the sellers I've seen, they are very concerned on a lot of questions related to sponsor discovery. And I think I'll take this session to really run through a little bit more conceptual, but of course I will still go a little bit, we'll just deep dive a little bit on some of the more advanced concepts or how to even do that for 1111, so that this helps you guys have a sense of what you can set up for the campaign itself. So yeah, without further ado, let's move on into it. Okay, so to start things off, I wanted to put this figure out here, basically the whole conversion funnel. First of all, just to specifically mention, this funnel is looking specifically on platform search. So definitely, I think there are more to just Lazada search. There's also your SEM, there's also your out-platform search, as well as your affiliates and stuff like that. But for today's session, it's very specific to what we can do on platform on Lazada's sponsor discovery. So yeah, so basically, if you look at the left, this is the entire funnel that we see today on the platform, going from awareness to consideration, conversion, and lastly, loyalty. So I think some of the trainers just now, they did mention in terms of awareness, in terms of building your brand, in terms of on brand presence. What Lazada has on hand right now, they have this sponsored display as a tool. So basically, sponsored display, you can either buy your banner outright or you can buy it on a CPM model. So if I'm not wrong, it's mostly open to last mile sellers today for you to get the banners, put out your products with prime visibility on the front page of Lazada. So the purpose of this, I would say this kind of ad is really more on the top funnel, basically getting very, very high impressions, getting your brand out there, people knows who you are, but not necessarily so much more down the funnel, which is something that I will focus a little bit more today. Yep. So moving down on consideration. So this is the part of the funnel where you are trying to attract potential buyers with your product listings, right? So that's where sponsored discovery really comes in. So over here, I have split up sponsored discovery into 2 segments. One, sponsored search. Second is on sponsored products. So sponsored search, I would peg it more on the consideration portion. So typically, I think when you think about the concept sponsored search, people are searching for products, they are searching for keywords, right? So for example, if you're selling similar brand to your other resellers, when they search a keyword that if one of you are bidding for, likely if you are bidding for it, you will be on top of the search page. Of course, that also depends on the different bid prices and how you rank against your other competitors. So that's sponsored search. So this is the part where I think it's more on the consideration phase. Someone is searching for either a brand or more of a generic keyword, maybe say pots, maybe say pens, and they are just trying to see what comes out. So they are like considering the choices that they have. So this is where sponsored search comes in. Then we move further down into the conversion funnel. This is where buyers are already viewing listings. So for example, if you look at where sponsored discovery comes in here, sponsored products. So what Lazada is doing here when you are placed in sponsored products is that you are suggesting products that are alternatives or similar or complementary to the products that buyers are already looking at. So they are very high intent. So this could be, depending on the windows that Lazada is looking at, it could be things like they're recommending to customers, or even within products, what are buyers like you looking for. So this is where sponsored products come in to capture those buyers and close the sales loop. So I would say that this is in summary where I see how each of the different sponsored tools from Lazada sits in. Yep. So I think one common question is also a lot of people ask, so I'm bidding for sponsor search, I'm bidding for products, but I don't see where my products show up. So I just wanted to quickly take this snapshot. I think it's widely available in Lazada's university as well. So this is where the different placements of sponsor discovery. So I think first one, homepage just for you. So just as I mentioned, sponsored products, right? So if someone has a browsing history of, say, monitors, likely these are the places where by default Lazada's algorithm will already start to recommend, but this is also where they will start placing the items that you put under sponsored products in. So that's where when people do their browsing, your items will appear there. And I think for those who are also new to sponsored discovery, as you're considering, how do you identify those items? Is those items with a little horn at the bottom right corner, if I'm not wrong. So if today, if you haven't seen it before, go and scroll through your app, do some search, you will actually notice that some of the placements on the app, they have this little so-called microphone there. That tells you those are actually sponsored and paid for by sellers to be ranked there. The second part is on product details recommendations tab. So very similar to the first one, like I mentioned just now. When you scroll down, similar items will be placed there so that people who are considering and browsing, they might go from those stores to your product as well. Last but not least, there's also, just jumping a bit, there's also one more under the reviews tab. So those is also one replacement. And I would like to also touch on sponsor search. So I think as the name suggests, basically when you search for a keyword, it just ranks and appears when you search for it. So right now, just to touch a little bit, there is also a recently 1 to 2 months or maybe 3 months kind of launch in terms of the first search slot. So sellers today can actually bid for the first search. So I would say later I will touch on a little bit more how relevant it is for you guys. But in general, it's going to definitely be a lot more costlier to try to rank number 1. And sometimes, depending on different objectives, you may or may not want to do that. Yep. So this is basically the whole placements of the whole sponsor discovery segment. Okay, so a little bit more on the conceptual part, just to quickly touch on. I think I have seen quite a fair bit of questions on, so what are traffic campaigns and what are sales campaigns? So I just wanted to very quickly touch on what is the conceptual background to these two campaigns. So number one, traffic. As the name suggests, you basically want to increase the number of clicks to your store. You want to drive your click-through rate. So this could be relevant to, say, for example, items that you guys have just newly listed. You need, or you over the span of observing your metrics, you know that items is having very low page views and stuff like that. So these could be items that you want to put on traffic campaigns to drive those number of clicks to those products. So, I mean, of course, this whole thing ties into whatever the rest of the trainers have said. Of course, if you look at it, you have to have good content scores, you have to have proper listings with good images, good titles. All this, of course, ties into affecting how people actually engage with your ad. So when your ad is put out there, is it attractive enough to attract people to click? So that is what traffic campaign will be all about. So how do you measure that? You really measure it by number of clicks, the cost per clicks. So that's how I would say you measure whether a traffic campaign is successful or not. The second one is on sales. So as the name suggests as well, really just to increase sales for your store or your product. So the metric here specifically is on conversion. So when we talk about sales campaign, we look a lot more on ROI. We look a lot more on sales. So basically, is the campaign generating you maybe $10 for every $1 spent? And what is that healthy ROI that each seller will want to achieve? So end of the day, I think the overarching concept here is that what are you trying to achieve with your products or with your brand? So that is how you would decide what kind of campaigns you would set up to drive different objectives at the end of the day. So it really differs also from brands to brands, to sellers, as well as categories to categories, right? Every different one actually has a different way to do it. Okay, so moving on to the next concept very quickly as well. what are the different campaigns types? So that's also another question people ask. After I chosen, let's say sales campaign, next I need to select whether or not it's an automated campaign or it's a standard campaign, right? So in summary, automated campaign is supposed to do everything for you, but it takes away a lot of control from you. So what you can do with an automated campaign, simply put it, is just that everything will be run by Lazada. What you can do is you can look at your product performance, and then you can decide whether you want to pause or stop one or two of the products, or even more of the products, depending on the performance. So generally, automated campaigns will be used by, I would say, sellers that have, I would say, a little bit more limitations on the budget, and a little bit more straightforward way of doing it. So for the new people out there, new guys to sponsored discovery, strongly still suggest automated, because simply put, you may not know what kind of product keywords work best for you. You may not have a very clear idea what kind of objectives you want to gun for. Then maybe automated would be the better option for you. The next one is standard. So as the name suggests, you really have a lot more control over which products and which keywords you want to bid on. So over here, I think the main thing that today a lot of brands and sellers who knows how to use it, they are using it to look at how can we overbid, how can we bid more on items that we want to drive on, and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more advanced. You have to have, I say, more of a concept of what you are trying to do over here, and you have to know specifically what products you want to drive. Instead of like automated where you let them select everything for you, standard, I would say a lot of the brands and sellers that are using this out there today that I see, they specifically know which are some of the skills or hero skills that they really want to drive on, and what kind of keywords they want to hit on. So also similar to what some of the trainers have mentioned, right? These are the things that you know you want to beat your competitors over, and you also want to overbid them. So that is where you take a standard campaign approach or standard products approach to really achieve that objective. Yep. So just to quickly just highlight some of the very quick tips, I think, which also a lot of it ties back into what other trainers have mentioned. So in terms of automated bidding, basically activate all placements. Reason being, end of the day, Lazada is the one that is doing all the optimization automatically. There is no reason for you to think otherwise, that one works less than the other, because there isn't enough information that you have on hand. And if you really just started out, it's not something that on your hand you know what to really avoid. So my suggestion is activate all placements and allow Lazada to really optimize it using their algorithm. Secondly, just use an automated creative optimization. So as we all know, we may have 5, 6, 10 product images, but not all the product images may work best for different customers. So what automated creative here may do is help you to choose the right image to really show to your customers. So that kind of thing happens on the back end is something that we would rather let the machine learning do their job and not stand in their way in that sense. And last but not least, I think a very common mistake is people sometimes they activate, products go out of stock, and this is something that they realize that, hey, could be something that is actually detrimental to the performance of your sponsored campaigns as well. Yep. On standard, so I would say that it's more of like I said just now, you are choosing the products to feature, but having too little products in a campaign also makes it difficult for the campaign to learn and to display it to your customers. So always try to maintain at least 10 to 20 products per campaign. And if you are managing your own keywords, don't just set 1 or 2 keywords, because you are also limiting the kind of scope that Lazada can help to push out your keyword on. So for example, even if you are selling a monitor, but there could be 20 other associated keywords that is also presented by Lazada or recommended by Lazada. So you should also set that keywords into the campaign, so as to let the whole system learn which keywords work best, and then you can adjust afterwards when you monitor the ROI as well. Last but not least, this is, like I said, more relevant to people who are competing with competitors for certain keywords or certain audiences. That's where your audience overbidding will come in to really look at what kind of target audience you are looking at. Is it someone who has viewed your products or purchased something of a similar category in the last 30 days? Do you want to bid an extra 10% or 15% on that so that you can win those audience that are relevant to your products? So that is something you can also do with standard bidding as well. So as a whole, if budget allows, generally the kind of strategy we should adopt is to always complement automated bidding with manual bidding. So given that you are the seller and you know some of your products much better, you can also complement it with some manual bidding to ensure that certain audiences are more catered towards, or even certain keywords, certain products you give some more additional attention to. So that could be one of the ways that I would suggest people to look at as well. Okay, so I think with the whole conceptual portion out of the way, I'm just trying to put this together for how we should, basically my own personal take on how we can approach an 11-11 setup. So I think the misconception some people have is, hey, 11-11 is coming, or 10-10 is coming, or 9-9 is coming, and they just set up on the day itself. They just set up a campaign, they put a few $100s, and then they try to drive everything on the day itself. But the sad truth is it doesn't work that way with Lazada. Lazada relies a lot on algorithm, a lot of matching with the audiences, a lot of so-called building that behavior and building that algorithm over time. So over here, what you see is I have split it into 3 portions to look at. So it's something that is replicable across all campaigns. You have to look at your BAU, which is your normal day. You need to always have a very standard BAU campaign ongoing. So during, let's say right now till 11-11, even before 11-11 teasing start, you should already look into having a very basic, always on budget. If you are a small seller, you don't have a lot of sales, this is also a chance you can limit your budget to, say, for example, $5, right, a day, and then use it for your BAU till teasing. So the purpose of this is really to put out your products, put your products out there. So we activate an automated traffic campaigns, put your product up there, increase the exposure to your products. You may or may not convert sales, but the whole motive is really to look at maximizing your exposure. And basically what you can do from there is looking at the data that you collect across the weeks. You can also see whether your ads are working well. So if we look at certain metrics, say for example, your clicks, are you driving clicks? Are the ads that you're setting up right now driving clicks for your products? That can also have a bit of learning for you whether or not you are bidding the right amount for your products. So things like your max bid price, are you setting a high enough max bid price, or are you limiting the bids to a too low price, and then other sellers are also bidding for the same kind of products and you are not able to rank within that? So then you can adjust accordingly for your 11-11 teasing and make sure that you start to hit that right from the start. So I would say it's really a day-to-day kind of thing. You really got to go and monitor how your ads are also working. So I think another metric that we also want to touch on here is click-through rate. So I mentioned clicks just now. Click-through rate is basically when someone sees your product, they click in, and what are the percentage of people seeing your products and then clicking in. So that's important. Why? Because it tells you a few things, right? One is your product image, for example, attractive enough for people to click on your product? Or is your product priced competitively enough for people to click on your product? So those are the things that actually affect your click-through rate. So it doesn't mean that let's say you bid for a first search slot, someone will click it. End of the day, there are 2-3 more products right beside your product. Are their prices going to be better than you, or are they going to have a better image than you? So these are also things that will affect how your ads perform. So it doesn't mean that you throw money and then you bid $1 or $2 and you get rank high. It means 100% guarantee someone will click on your product. Even if they click on your product, it may be a wasted click because you don't convert in the end. So there are some of like the pitfalls that I would like to also share for everybody to avoid. Then we move on to 11-11 teasing. So teasing, typically we will start off at the start of the month, maybe from the 1st till the 10th of November. So similarly, we look at automated traffic, we look at a similar campaign, but this time round, I think in terms of the metrics we are looking at, you need to also start looking at things like your add to cart as well. So in general, as an overview, when do you start optimizing for the different campaigns? I would say start of campaign, 1st November to maybe around your 3rd day before 11/11 hits, you should switch to sales campaign so that Lazada's the automated campaign can start to machine learn. So always keep in mind, it's always about the machine learning. Traffic campaign, obviously trying to drive clicks. End of the day, when you want to drive your sales during 11/11, you need to also start 2 to 3 days earlier so that machine learning starts to adopt the right customers, a lot of the right funnel that to target. So that's what I would recommend here in terms of that optimization. I think one of the questions maybe some sellers may have also on in terms of setting the right right budgets and stuff like that. So there are a few things to avoid to take note. So number one, if you are looking to maximize your profit, always set cost-effective bidding. So never let the system automatically bid for max bid prices or very high bid prices. So set a cost-effective bidding. Secondly, you can always monitor your ROAS or ROAS, return on ad spend, manually in terms of going into your campaign and looking at the products. So if you know it's a new item, you got more budget to spend on it, it's possible to be having a ROAS of lower than 1. But in general, the general assumption here is that we are all here to make money, right? So if a product is underperforming badly, basically is spending, let's say $10 by giving you 0 sales or giving you 1 sale for $10, that is actually something that you should take note and try to avoid. So you can actually pause SKUs at the campaign level and then avoid those SKUs in your campaigns. So that's how you can also prevent spending on unnecessary products, especially if you have, say, 200-300 products in a campaign. You really need to go through the exercise to rationalize which products to keep inside a campaign that makes more sense for your store as well. Yeah, so last but not least, maximizing sales. So if you are a brand or seller that you really have a much bigger budget or much higher revenue that you can put into sponsored discovery, one thing is really to look at overbidding on premium audiences, driving more conversions. So premium audiences can refer to shoppers who visited your SRS in the last 15 days, very interested in your products, or shoppers who also show similar interest in your product category in the last 30 days. These are some of the audiences that you can actually upbid, overbid on, so that you can get more eyeballs on D-Day itself. Yep. So I think maybe to leave you guys with a final tip for 11/11, so especially for the smaller sellers out there, if budget is restricted in general, focus on automated campaigns. I think the pitfall here is a lot of sellers, we think about setting standard campaigns, choosing our own keywords and stuff like that. But it is sometimes best to leave it to automated if you do not exactly know what you are trying to achieve with standard campaigns. So with a lower budget, just stick to automated campaigns. Yeah, so I think that sums up what I wanted to share today, and happy to hear questions after.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Daniel, for sharing on his insight itself. I think, of course, I think there's a lot of key takeaways that you can take from the question itself, like how to plan for Double 11, why technically for new sellers. I think every seller says, hey, which solutions do I start using first? Definitely should be sponsored discovery, but how do I use it? Like, when we launched sponsored discovery, there was only one button, you choose create a campaign, you select your keyword, set your budget, you spend. Nowadays there are like more buttons. You can optimize for traffic. You can choose automated. You can select your keywords, and then you can do more customization on the SKU level itself. So things are gradually improving itself on the space. But I think we should go forward to the Q&A first before we see Q&A part first.
You need a point?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Magic hand. Okay, so first question, what role does sponsored discovery play in the conversion funnel itself? Okay, just what I think he went through. For conversion, what role does the sponsored discovery play in the conversion funnel? First, awareness to grow products and brand presence. 2, consideration to attract potential buyers to browse or convert, capture buyers and close the sales loop itself. I think it's answer by the name itself, it should be quite obvious also, which is actually the number. What's the answer?
Actually, the answer is number 2 and number 3. So if you actually chosen either one, I mean, you are technically correct.
Okay, so you technically got 60% of chance to get right. 66% to get correct.
Yeah.
But because that is 2 or 3, you are actually getting correct. So So you get 2 or 3 is either correct. Well, now we got more questions. Okay, let's close out the questions quiz first. Next quiz: what are the criteria we should look at while manually selecting products for standard campaigns? 1. Campaign products. 2. Competitively priced products. 3. Promotional products. 4. Good content score products. 5 is best-selling products.
Actually, there should be a 6.
Is it?
For all of the above.
Okay. So number 6 is all of the above. So I think he hinted the answer could be 6. But I think I think that should be correct. What are the criteria that you as a seller, means you as a seller, should be looking out for when you select the products for this standard campaign itself? So standard campaign products, competitive price, promotional products, good content, as well as best selling. What's the correct answer?
Everything.
Which is 6 lah.
Yeah.
The 6 is not there. Answer is all of it. So I hope we got it correct again, because I think Daniel did mention a bit about why you should put all those products in. Again, even if the algorithm chooses your product, you are still matched other well-performing products on the search page itself. So even on the recommended product, you are still matched against other products which are already like competitively priced, got free gifts, got good content image. So you are still some sort matched again. So even if you win the bid, but you lose the action of the consumer, like
the choosing part when they
you still lose lah. So it's not a good thing that eventually you lose your that's what I always mention to some sellers is that you still need. It doesn't mean that you got a lot of money to spend on sponsor discovery, you can win ahead of the competition. Your fundamentals still must be very good, like your product image, your product title, your promotions, your product description. All these other stuff are still essentially very important while we talk about sponsor discovery. If all these are not well managed within a daily basis itself, I think if you even start paying money in the booster, your results may not be that good as optimized again. So like say, of course, like I think Chisa mentioned, if you think about are there other things you can improve before you want to drop the price itself? Images, title, anything like bundling and stuff before you start to talk about even think about, oh yes, I will drop a price, I want to spend money on ads. Let's go back with one step and look at your basic fundamentals. So if it's all done already, then let's try again on the bidding process itself. Okay, last one. When should you start your sponsored discovery campaigns for? Double 11. Okay, first is now. 2 is Double 11, teasing to 1st November. 3 is Double 11 D-Day itself. I think this is quite simple. I think he went it through on his last presentations slide itself. Essentially, what's the correct answer?
You need to start now.
Okay, so let's just remind them, why do you need to start now?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, learning phase takes a long time. Building up your products takes a long time. You don't just set up on the day itself and expect results. So this is something that always have to keep in mind. It's a little bit different from some of the different like other marketplace tools that other people have been using, or even other marketplaces, how it works. So Lazada like I said, there's algorithm in play. So we always have to put ourselves there for the machine to pick it up. And that is where, even on, let's say, end of October or mid-October, someone starts looking at your product already. They are already inside your audience pool. When it comes down to D-Day, you want to start overbidding. These guys will straight away be right there being your audience. So that is the main reason why we should start early.
Or against because of machine learning. So every time you do a new campaign, your machine learning we start the whole learning process again for your specific campaigns. So if it's good that you can start early, let the system start. Let me know that nowadays, because bidding also quite expensive. It's getting more and more expensive as we talk about, because as you go teasing, you go into D-Day itself, bidding is going to be more expensive on a day-to-day basis itself. If you start late, your bidding price is you're going to, of course, less time to learn, and then your pricing is all very, very high on. Okay, so always remember to start early. It's not that there's always no reason to start later. Okay. And again, I don't think Daniel can answer this question. Like people always ask this: what kind of budgets do you like for a new seller? What budget do you recommend them to play about? I think this is a very common question I always ask. What do you recommend a new seller to a safe amount for them to play around with, or threshold they can play around with for marketing?
Yeah, so generally it's tricky. So
yeah, it's tricky.
I think what we mentioned just now, before we even talk about sponsor discovery as a new seller, have we looked at the fundamentals of the product? That's number one. Basically, it's all set up properly, even down to your service, your delivery, your shipping, whatever. Like all these fundamentals, as a new seller, have you gotten that right? Then we look at sponsored discovery. So as a rule of thumb, either way, your minimum budget per day is going to be $5. So as a new seller, you definitely got to start with $5. But always, I think one of the things that you can do as a new seller, if you are afraid to experiment or you don't know what's going on, like I said, start off with automated campaign. You can actually set your max bid price. So I would say a rule of thumb, you can start off with 10 cents or 15 cents, and then slowly up your bid as you monitor your ROAS or you monitor your clicks. So that is how I would approach it. Take a more phased approach. You slowly do the increase in budget. Don't one shot put $100. Some people do that. Then they anyhow or don't know how to set up the campaign. Then they start to bid at $1 or $2 per click. Then they suddenly run out. Then they complain in the Facebook. That's some of the things that we have seen before. So start off slow. Look at the data. Then before you change and adjust your budget upwards. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, of course. We'll again just to say that of course Double 11, you know, the big brands, everything they bid very big on whatever keyword you can find, they bid very big one. It's an intentional move to outbid everyone on everything. So of course play within your means. You don't need to go and challenge them on every keyword because certain keywords are very, very common and very popular. So do not need to bid on every keyword. Alright, Eric has one question. I think this is also very subjective. What do you, as a person user, consider a good ROI for sponsored discovery?
Okay. I think we have heard or seen people talk about their 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. Personally, for Lazada one, I think a 7 to 10x ROI would be a good ROAS that we are looking for. Why I say so? First of all, I mentioned just now there's machine learning. If there isn't such a thing and you are going guerrilla keyword bidding, then maybe you're looking at 4 to 5 times. But in Lazada sense, I would say 7 to 10x. And that's what I strive to achieve. Why 20x or why 28x or 30x, 35x, 50x is not good is because it could be telling you that your ROI is so good. Could you have sold more? Could you have shown your ads to more people and made more money? So that is where you might want to relook whether or not is it your budget cap that is preventing you from pushing the ROI, or is it that if you increase your bids by a bit or overbid a little bit for more audiences, your ROI may go down to 10x, but your sales may double or triple from your traffic campaign or sales campaign. So I would say that is where I think it would be a good number to look at.
Okay, great. Again, so, but of course, I think 7 to 10 because he did some A/B testing. He tried, he know what's best for his own products. Yep. Again, of course, as long as you are improving slowly on every campaign, is good enough. Okay, then you slowly get a better ROI, which is maybe 7 to 10. But of course, let's start small and then slowly get your ROI building and learn over time. Because again, a lot of times, a lot of sellers will ask, hey, is there one template? You give me a template, I follow your template, can you choose what, I choose what, but again, everyone sells a different product. Everyone sells a very, very different range of product. His template may not even work for you at all.
Correct. I mean, if you look at, I will just give a very quick example. Like for example, if you sell electronics, your margin is low. Maybe you cannot afford that kind of ROI that I'm talking about. Maybe you need to look at 15x. So it really also depends on your objective, right? Yes, we talk about ROI now because you're looking at sales. But if you are a brand or if you are a seller that is trying to build a brand, maybe your ROI you're going to look at lower because you are looking at impressions. You're looking at people knowing your brand and building up your brand keyword. So in future, people start searching for maybe say your brand, and then you have a lower cost of that acquisition of customers in future. Yep. So it's really how it all pans out in the entire big picture.
Yeah, of course. The end idea, of course, is really to build your products, your branding at the end of the day with all this marketing. The ideal scenario for all this marketing that you are doing is for yourself only. It's not for your sales only. Okay, Pauline has a very good question. So when Lazada, this one I really don't know the answer also. I just say, maybe you might not know the answer also. So when Lazada compares your price against other platforms and deem your price not competitive, will this affect your sponsored ads and related to? So her plan is that if her product is deemed as not competitive on Lazada platform, if she spend money on sponsored discovery, would it be a waste of time and money?
Okay. Personally, I feel.
Yeah, again, I know there's no correct answer for this.
No correct answer. Personally, I feel it's a separate topic. Because end of the day, your discovery, you are paying money to rank. Say for example, today I'm doing a standard product and I rank it, and I bid for first search slot. You are still going to place first search. So does that then take into account competitiveness versus other platforms? I would say no. But in the other sense, in terms of the normal organic ranking, will it get affected? I would say maybe, but no definite answer as well. But definitely, sponsored discovery is still going to give you an edge in terms of ranking on number 1, 4, 8, or 12 as Lazada deems those slot for discovery.
So also this one my opinion is that, so of course definitely if your product is being identified as not competitive, probably is part of the few 100,000 SKUs that's been identified that's selling in Singapore. Again, when it's identified, doesn't mean it's top 100 or top 1,000. It's few 100,000 of SKUs that's being identified. There's a lot of them that's being identified on a daily basis. That is not competitive. I believe on organic search itself, yes, you might be deprior a little bit, not a lot, deprior a little bit on organic search, but it doesn't affect the sponsor, because sponsor part, you are bidding for spaces. Spaces has no logic towards it. Spaces is really based on
it's based on bid price.
Yeah, it's just
you
bid
pay
price.
the most, number 1, second, number 2, number 3, number 4, depending on the slots allocated.
Yeah, it's like 1, 3, 5, 7. All these are just parking slot places. They do not affect. But I think prices organic wise, definitely there would be some on the organic space, but not on the paid ad space itself.
Yep.
All right. I think also that cover all the. Hey, okay, well, this one a bit cheap. Okay, I leave it to you to answer. Do you use Facebook ads?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you do Facebook. If yes, what ROAS you targeting?
Okay, so Facebook a little bit different. So generally, I look more on the clicks, the amount I'm spending on per click. My own personal optimization is always to drive clicks to be more efficient, because so I typically try to look around 20 to 25 cents US dollar per click for my category of products, right? So for some of the brands that I do manage on that, I target around that kind of clicks. In terms of ROAS or ROI, of course, to track that in the first place is a bigger topic. You have to have your whole collaborative ad setup with Lazada. You got to have a brand portal. Then you can start tracking all these things. So I would say there is really still no definite answer for that right now. Yeah,
of course. I think Facebook ads is really like Facebook, Google. It's really in the cloud one. We don't know what picks, what don't picks. You have to just try out what picks or don't picks. It's very difficult for us to do. So I think I got one very last question to you. Have you tried out the newest solution, sponsored media?
Sponsored media? No, actually, I haven't tried out. I have tried out the new product launcher, not so much on the sponsored media yet.
Okay, I think something that will be already a lot of people, because if you try out, then you probably can get your opinion on how it works and works for you itself. But if not, it's fine. I think everyone. So we have I know we have launched two solutions recently, which is new product launcher as well as sponsored media. So if your sellers want to try it for Double 11, please feel free to try it. Again, no best practices, no guidelines, because there's really not enough data to justify anything right now. It's for the time.
Guideline is start small.
Start small, just try it. And then one is you try a bit better than you don't try. Okay. Okay. Again, thank you, Daniel, for sharing. Thank you for answering the question. Okay, and then next part, I'll just my solo session. I'll just allow Daniel slowly mush out on this space down so that I can slowly present on my portion again. Once again. All right. Thank you for joining on this live stream itself. Again, it has been a wonderful 2 hours 30 minutes with everyone. So I think end of the day, I really hope everyone learns something new on today itself. Really, it's because we really want to create this kind of content for you to learn in preparation for our Double 11 campaign. As everyone knows, Double 11 campaign is not just a one-day campaign. It may seem like a one-day sale campaign, but actually the preparation go as far back as 3 to 6 months. Some of these sellers like Philip, Daniel, I think even Brian or even Chisan, they probably started planning 6 months ago. What are the products they want to feature? What are the promotions they want to run? What kind of stocks I want to bring in? What kind of manpower do I have to prepare on in advance? All these are things that they need to prepare in order to make this a very successful campaign itself. And you know, Double 11 is always the biggest sale campaign of the year itself. So if you're a new seller, you join this year, please remember to join us on this journey itself to ensure that you actually embark with us on this very, very fun journey itself. So next, of course, I think besides all the vouchers that we given out to, I just want to quickly read out the winners of all the quiz itself. Basically, we have Shatika, Catherine, Elaine, Eric. The Philip question 2. I don't know how to pronounce the Chinese name. Sorry. Bongster, Esther Lee, Cool Shop, Mia Pix, Eric again, Mia Pix, JJ Shop. So we will contact you through either through ASC or Seller Center or the Facebook page itself to pass you the voucher codes itself. But of course, for those who miss out on this opportunity, but not to worry. So just remember, you can always watch the playback of this live stream available on Facebook as well on the Seller Center itself. But of course, we are going to give you a giveaway. So what we're going to do is one, comment your seller ID on the post itself, but of course do ensure that you already watched the playback itself so that we know that you have watched the playback itself, and then we will draw 20 winners from this list itself to stand away to win exclusive Lazada merchandise itself. Alright, so we give away 20 bags of merchandise through this contest itself. Very simply, just watch this live stream and then comment your seller ID on the contest post itself. So the last May will be actually posting this very soon, or I think it's posted very soon or posted. But please do just join this giveaway, and it's free to join, and then get a chance to win your Lazada merchandise. Okay, and lastly, of course, definitely we have the feedback item itself. So if you like any of these contents, or you like to hear any more on this any kind of this topics itself, as much as we can, we'll try to prepare it for next year itself, or maybe in late November itself, because we know that early December and mid-November you will be preparing for your Double 11. We will try to tone down on our live streams and engagements. We ensure we keep you focused on your Double 11 fulfillments as well as your services itself. So remember to give us the feedback and let us know what we can improve better, and to let you know on what you want to learn for future engagements itself on the live stream itself. Alright, and once again, thank you for everyone, and thank you for all the speakers for taking time off to actually present on this Lazada Ambassador Day. And thank you for of course being here with us and enjoy and staying through a live stream itself. I know it's 2 hours 30 minutes of education, and it might be quite taxing, but you don't need to watch it at one go. You can always watch it on our playbacks itself. And of course, if you look at you notice on the top of my side, there's always these social handles that we have on multiple channels itself. We have actually expanded to open our branding channels on multiple channels on Instagram, TikTok, Blogspace, YouTube, as well as Facebook itself. We now have a lot of social media channels again, really to showcase the Lazada branding itself. Alright, but not to worry, again, thank you for being with us. I hope to see you on our next live stream, more live stream next week. But again, thank you our ambassadors for making the trip down and then sharing their knowledge to you on this long live stream itself. Alright, thank you and goodbye.